What's up, my friends in film fandom, wherever you may be and however you may be watching? Thank you so much for giving us just a little bit of your time. Scary horror October, it all goes well together. There's still really almost half the month, a couple of weeks left in this month for us to go over all kinds of cool stuff. And why not revisit one of the cooler vampire movies that has ever been made with some of the coolest actors that have ever come out. Just a fun movie all around, and I'm glad to have my buddy here talking about with me today. Starting with my hetero mate, Jeremy. What's up, brother?
This is one of those movies that we always ask ourselves, like, when did we stop having fun? Because no one just makes movies like this anymore just for entertainment or having fun anymore. Because I was like,
but what's the political message, Jeremy? Where's the commentary then?
Oh, it's pretty easy. Don't go to Mexico because bad things happen. Just the water. No offense to Frank, but I'm not gonna risk going down there and run into a titty bar full of vampires. Is what I'm saying.
No,
I'd still go to the titty twister.
I'm Mexican. Anyway, I want to tell you to stay away from Mexico these days.
Yeah, that's
go to San Diego or LA. That's as close as you want to get to Mexico. At least San Diego and LA, the police are not owned by the cartel. At least not all.
I don't even want to go there. So I don't know. I'll just stay away from the South entirely. Also, no offense to Tex, but you can have it. Let's deal with it.
We're good.
And of course, the man who was geographically closer to the titty twister than any of us. He actually, I do believe, didn't you tell me the story, Tex? You actually lost your virginity in the bathroom with a titty twister, didn't you? Anyway, so check on our team.
It was a drunken night in Mexico. A lot of crazy shit went happen. I woke up without my pants. I'm not sure what happened, to be real honest with you. What are you gonna do? What's up, everybody?
He said his pants were down, his butthole was sore bloody. He didn't ask any questions.
At
that point, you just say, whatever happened to happen. It's out there in the ether. I'm just gonna go home and get back to work.
There's no way to undo it. You just accept it, forget about it, and move on, and drink more later and try to forget. That's how you handle that situation. But, what you got to do?
Be happy that the memory is buried. Anyway,
buried, all right.
Something got buried.
Let's get to what we're talking about, and it is the movie From Dusk Till Dawn. It is the 1996 American action horror film directed by Robert Rodriguez and written by Quentin Tarantino, from a concept and a story by Robert Kurtzman, starring Harvey Keitel, George Clooney, Tarantino, Ernest Liu, and Juliette Lewis. The plot follows a pair of American criminal brothers, played by Clooney and Tarantino, who take a family as hostages, played by Keitel, Liu, and Lewis, in order to cross into Mexico, but ultimately find themselves trapped in a saloon occupied by vampires. From Dusk Till Dawn premiered on January 17th, 1996, at the Cinerama Dome in Hollywood, Los Angeles. Was released on January 19th in the United States. It initially received mixed reviews from critics who described the film as well-made and overly violent. After enjoying financial success at the box office, the film has since become a cult film and has spawned a media franchise of sequel films, a video game, and other media adaptations. From Dusk Till Dawn grossed $25.8 million in the United States and $33.5 billion internationally, for a respectable worldwide gross of about $60 million against a budget of just $19 million. On Rotten Tomatoes, 63% of critics reviews are positive, with an average rating of 6.2 out of 10. The website's consensus reviews reads, quote, "A pulpy crime drama vampire film hybrid. From Dusk Till Dawn is an uneven but often deliriously enjoyable B movie." That's kind of right. I mean, I guess. I think there was way too much star power in it to call it a B movie, but whatever. We'll go with that. I like this. I think they're probably talking about more the style that was shot in. I don't know, Jeremy. Give me your thoughts on From Dusk Till Dawn before we get into the spoilers
now. It's always fun when I go back and watch one of these grindhouse movies, whether it's Robert Rodriguez or Quentin Tarantino. It's like, I forget, as I said in the beginning, how much fun these are and how much I actually like these. I like the style of it. I like the way they're shot and some of the, way they frame stuff, and how, things will left turn really hard and just about give you a whiplash, but it's still fun because I'm like, you're drawn in by the inherent, these two brothers are trying to escape, the feds by going to Mexico, by taking a family hostage. And then, you're not ready for all of a sudden, this place we're going to hide out is full of vampires. and now it's a fight for our lives. So, literally. So again, it's a fun movie, and like I said, this is the time. Like I said, we're still having fun. We're just making shit to make to have a good time, and I miss it. And again, I love these movies because at this point, what we've already had Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction. So I mean, these are I remember when Death Proof was. That was also a Grindhouse movie. But yeah. So these are pretty well established, and again, it fits within that genre because I mean we as we all know, it's all connected. I forgot there was a Big Kahuna burger in this movie, and I was like, aha, there it is. There it is. I heard they're quite tasty, as Jackson once told us.
Yeah, this era also gave us movies like American Pie, so you could still kind of push the edges a little bit. This is before everybody became so sensitive about even the dumbest jokes. But Tex, what do you think? Give us some quick thoughts on From Dusk Till Dawn.
You got to be real cool to get the band from Roadhouse to star in your film as well. That's how cool this movie is. Like, that's just an example of level of awesome. Yeah, I love this movie. This is probably my favorite vampire film of all time and favorite kind of vampires. I love the Calabras, that like snake design with the vampires and the bat. Like, I like how the whole Southwest is incorporated. Of course, I'm impartial to the location, but yeah, this is a fun one. This is this is kind of a tricky film. If you've never seen this, like, you could show this to somebody, not tell them vampires are in it, and for the first hour they would not see it coming. Right up until Selma Hayek and her dance, and then boom, we're in a whole nother kind of hell, and it's just so fun. It's two movies in one, and they're both amazing, and you don't mind that there's no vampires, even once you know that they're there, like if you're rewatching or something. Both stories are great. I'm a huge Robert Rodriguez fan, my fellow Texan. I got to support my boy. And yeah, this is an awesome ride. This is a fun one.
Yeah, this movie did have, I've said 100 times, if the 90s gave us anything that was fantastic, it was this huge swatch of independent film. And this movie was shot very independently. I mean, yeah, it had Clooney in it, who was already a pretty big star. This is right around the time he was doing ER and stuff like that. Tarantino had a big enough name. Juliette Lewis had been on the come up for a long time. Keitel has been a star since the 70s. So, I mean, just looking at the cast, even just at the time, you wouldn't say that this was a cast of a bunch of nobodies. This was already a pretty well-known cast. So to call the movie kind of an independent thing, it sounds odd, but it really was shot like that. This was back when guys like Clooney would do movies like this. And then, of course, you had Danny Trejo with that, his kind of in the hitting his early peak and all that stuff. Cheech Marin, who's been a legend since the 70s. But yeah, I mean, this really was kind of shot.
I wonder how many paychecks Cheech Marin got for this movie. He does 3 different roles. Like, do you get 3 paychecks for that? Like I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure within the SAG rules of how many paychecks per character. But just curious about that.
So I don't know.
Well, he was only supposed to play 2, but I'll get into what casting could have been. I'll get into the cast and what casting could have been later.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it was shot really like an independent film. And if you listen to Robert Rodriguez talk about his early career, this was earlier in his career, how he shot like the Mariachi, the Desperado and El Mariachi and stuff
Desperado.
Like that. Like, beforehand. Yeah, it was kind of when he was trying to hold on to that style of filmmaking, which was fantastic. He gave us a lot of great movies from this era. I mean, 90s Robert Rodriguez stuff was fantastic. But let's start by talking about Robert Rodriguez and kind of his career. I mean, I'll go to you first, Tex. I mean, he's been involved in so much stuff from the early 90s all the way up to now. He's had his name attached. He's directed some pretty big things. He's directed 1 or 2 episodes of The Mandalorian, some of the better episodes. For years now, he just kind of, his name pops up after you feel like he hasn't been around for a while, and he comes up with a great movie that is so vintage him. What do you think of Robert Rodriguez and just kind of his work overall?
Oh, I'm a huge Robert Rodriguez fan. He's one of the great Texas artists. But him, Toby Hooper, kind of like the 2 biggest movie directors from my home. And I mean, the whole El El Mariachi saga from Desperado to Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Those movies are so much fun to watch. They're over the top 90s action movies with hot chicks and awesome guns. Like, who doesn't love that? I think my favorite thing Robert Rodriguez probably has ever done is Planet Terror, the zombie film, the second half portion of the Grindhouse film from 2007 that him and Tarantino did together. He got Bruce Willis. I like how he turned the Iraq War veterans into like these mutating bubbly zombie, guys that if they didn't get their gas, they just turned into piles of goo. I thought that was interesting. And hey, JT's Barbecue is the best damn barbecue in Texas, by God. So I love that movie as well. But yeah, I'm a big Robert Rodriguez fan. I mean, the Machete films. Who doesn't love those? If we don't get Machete in space, by God, I'm going to be pissed because we were promised. So
technically, we did. Danny Trejo was in an episode of Mandalorian as a Rancor trainer, so we got Machete in space. Kind of.
Hang on. That's technically a galaxy far, far away. That's not space.
A long time ago in a galaxy.
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I need a Machete film set on the space station with the laser machete that may or may not be the Darksaber from Mandalorian. That could be cool.
Right.
I'm down for something like that. But yeah, it's all good. But yeah, no, Robert Rodriguez, he's awesome. I'm a fan. So he's got my support.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going over some of the stuff that he's done. I mean, for one, he's done the Mexico trilogy, which he did. El Mariachi, which is a fantastic movie. Desperado, which is I think it's kind of. I think the way it works is more of a spiritual sequel. I don't know if it's a direct one, but then of course, Once Upon a Time in Mexico, which is a direct sequel to Desperado. And then just looking at some of the stuff, he's really kind of gotten around a little bit. He did the Sin City movies, which I didn't love, but I mean they were
Sin City is
pretty wild. The Spy Kids movies, which are a lot of fun to watch. Planet Terror, of course, Machete, which is a fantastic movie. He also did one of the most underrated sci-fi horror movies that came out in the 90s was The Faculty, the movie that kind of gave us Josh Hartnett and stuff like that.
Yeah.
One of his first.
I forgot that he made that.
Yeah, that movie I've always liked that movie. I think it's a lot of fun. But
it's a good one, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the stuff he did. You ever see Four Rooms? Mm-mm. Four Rooms is like a mystery, weird whodunit thing that four different directors worked on four different segments of the movie that all kind of worked together. And Robert Rodriguez directed one of the segments. I haven't seen it in a long time. It came out in the mid-90s. I remember liking that movie a lot, though. But yeah, he's got Spy Kids Armageddon, which ended up coming out on Netflix. Yeah, it's so much stuff. He's also, I didn't realize, so I was reading this just now, he's actually second cousins with Danny Trejo. So they're related.
Really?
So one of the reasons why he's in everything, but it doesn't matter because they work great together. But yeah, dude, he's an independent filmmaker at heart. And one of the things I've always liked about one of the I forget which movie it was, but it may have been Desperado. He's got part of the commentary in the DVD where he talks about his approach towards filmmaking. That's one of the reasons I've quoted him a couple of times on it, where he says, why buy 20 feet of hose when 10 will do? Only using the same truck in multiple shots. Yeah. He's like, if you look at 4 or 5 different parts of the movie, different people are driving the same truck. He's like, just do that and keep the budget down and work on telling the story and the characters, and your movie's going to be successful. And that's kind of how he shoots all of his movies. They look low budget, they look kind of low res. But he puts so much work into the dialogue and the characters that you don't really notice.
Well, to be fair, though, a lot of his films take place in a very stylized, like Jeremy was talking about earlier, a grindhouse feel. For those watching who don't know, a grindhouse film is a low budget. Well, a grindhouse is technically a term that refers to a theater that it's kind of like a not a nice place. It's not like your AMC multiplex that you have nowadays. It was one of those places, very dangerous, very dank looking, whatever. And the grindhouse exploitation era was these cheaper made blood and guts kind of films, whether it was cop dramas or monster movies. And Robert Rodriguez. Another reason why he's one of my favorite directors is, y'all know the grindhouse films are my favorite. I love these things. and he embodies that style and brings it to life to a modern sensibility. Even with like Frank, you talked about Sin City just a minute ago. He took Frank Miller's comic book and literally looks like it's a page for, well, like it's a live action comic book. How he animated everything, how he made it look and feel. It looks like you're watching a movie comic book. It's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, apparently it was in his blood when he was young. When he was in high school, he was commissioned to videotape the school's football games. According to his sister, he was fired soon afterwards as he had shot footage in a cinematic style, getting shots of parents' reactions and the ball traveling through the air instead of shooting the whole play. So he had the vision right from the jump, and I'm glad he ended up
keep you down, man.
Yeah, I'm glad he ended up doing that. Yeah,
he was filming Friday Night Lights before it ever happened. That's what he was doing.
Probably back in the early 80s at that point. But yeah, Robert Rodriguez, I mean, like I said, he makes everything that he touches is good. I'm trying to remember. All it has here is just movies and stuff. It doesn't really have any other stuff he's worked on. But that's also just a partial filmography. It doesn't have all of it because he's been involved in a bunch of stuff. But yeah, Robert Rodriguez is a great filmmaker. Now let's get to the cast. And I mean, the cast of this film is just loaded. I mean, like I said, we know them now. Tarantino, Clooney has become Clooney, Trejo, all this stuff. But I mean, even then, a lot of these people were already kind of making a name for themselves. Juliette Lewis has been a child star for a long time. Harvey Keitel, like I said, has been an acting legend.
She was just off of Natural Born Killers when she made this.
Yeah, things like that. I mean, again, a loaded cast, and can't forget this guy. Can't forget Sex Machine. We love that guy. But I mean, I'll go to you first, Tech. What do you think of the cast of the movie? Did it work out well for you? And who stood out to you the most?
Oh yeah. Oh, how can you not love this cast? I mean, so many standouts. I mean, how can you not love a character named Sex Machine? The dude's got a dick for a pistol for a dick. Which I'm curious of. I mean, we're all guns guys around here. How the hell does that gun even work? Because the chambers don't look like they line. I don't know. I'm not going to ask too many questions. It just looks badass. I'd love to have one.
I don't know if I put it in my notes or not. I did read something about it when I was getting this together, if I can find it all.
Yeah, I mean, as many times as I've seen this film, I always wonder, how does that gun shoot? Like the schematics are like, that's just weird. But I do have to give two shout outs for the cast. I'm not going to go for the main guys here. There's a guy that Mr. Sex Machine is having a conversation with, kind of a long-haired hippie kind of looking fella that he kind of runs the whole K&B Studios that did the effects on this one. A guy by the name of Mr. Greg Nicotero, and huge in the prop world, the horror world, so much fun. It was cool to see him get a cameo here. And the other mention I do want to say is, I can't remember his name, but Sheriff McGraw from the beginning of the film that goes in there talks about hippies, weed and how the microwave burritos are going to kill you. Sheriff McGraw, for those who don't know the Robert Rodriguez category, this character has been in like 4 of his different movies that aren't even attached. Robert Rodriguez just really loves that guy and that character, so he put him in Planet Terror. He was in this. I think Kill Bill he was in. He was in a few different movies. But yeah, there was just so many cool people and just a couple honorable mentions.
Yeah, Michael Park is his name.
Michael Park, yeah. He's
Michael Parks.
He was so he's just so he reminds me of like a local guy that would be a sheriff in my county or something, like sitting at the local quick stop on his 5th cup of coffee, just looking for a reason not to work that day. One of those kind of cops. So I dig it.
Oh no, Jeremy, what about you? What do you think of the cast and who stood out to you the most?
First of all, I was going to say, not only don't think we need to ask how that gun exactly works in a movie full of vampires, but when you think about it too,
right.
And by that I mean don't think about it. I mean, you got Rose McGowan with a machine gun attached to her leg. I'm like, okay, but
yeah, that's another one.
It's cool, but I'm like, how is she shooting the gun? It's just attached to her leg, and she just kind of lays over and just shoots with her leg. I'm like, whatever, I don't care. This movie's fun. You know what I mean? I was gonna say I don't think I want to ask the awkward question of how did Tom Savini reload the gun, but whatever. We're worried about the practicality, and I'm like, well, that's a facet of it.
I'm not sure that I want that. I'm not sure I want hot lead that close to my dick. Like that's not a good situation. You know what I mean?
Recoil is still a thing, so I can't imagine it's very.
That recoil's a bitch, but
yeah. Yeah, like we were saying, how could you go wrong with a cast this big and this loaded? And again, especially when you got, 3 rounds of Cheech Marin. Like, how do you say no? He's the border patrol agent. He's the guy outside the fucking club, and he's the guy that they were there to meet in the first place. Carlos. I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't care. He's in this movie 3 times. I'm not going to complain. But obviously, a win that's very obvious is this little guy right here. So because I'm not gonna lie, like you got Vampire Danny Trejo looked pretty goddamn cool. Because I was gonna say all these vampires actually looked pretty unique, which was really cool to see. Each of them had their own cool look to them, and like Tex said, like someone else to shout out would be not only Tom Savini but Greg Nicotero, which again, if you know, this dude's been all over the place from like Creepshow to Walking Dead. He's all over the place.
The dude started on Romero films, but that's how far back he goes. Like, Greg Nicotero's first job was Day of the Dead, I believe. I think that was the first movie that he ever did, and he's been there ever since. So he's been around a long time.
Yeah. So I would say, just kind of 3 should I say 3 puffs, 3 passes of Cheech Marin and a little bit of Machete. So
could you get Tommy Chong in here though? That would have been cool to see Chong in there with Cheech, but
that would have been pretty damn funny if they were in like the back of the bar or some shit. They pull up in a big like fucking truck full of weed or something.
Tommy Chong has never liked acting.
Really?
Really?
He said he did the Cheech and Chong stuff because he was friends with Cheech and he didn't want to let him down. But he hasn't really done a lot of stuff on his own. He was a musician by trade. Did you know that?
I guess that kind of makes sense with that 70s show.
I didn't know that, but
when he met Cheech Marin, I think Cheech was like doing stand-up or opening for a blues band that he was in Canada because he's Canadian. And they met, and then they became friends, and then the Cheech and Chong shtick kind of became something they just kind of put together over time, and then it became what it became in the 70s and early 80s. Cheech and Chong still smoking all that stuff. He said he didn't really like acting. That's why he doesn't do it. He was a musician by trade. And music was always his first love.
Yeah,
I actually have the Cheech and Chong biography on my bookshelf. I've read it. And he said, he was like, I've always wanted to be a musician more than an actor. He's like, every time I get a chance, I go out and do music.
Okay. I have to ask, is it made on hemp paper? Because if not, I'm disappointed.
I'll roll it and smoke it later and see how I feel. I'll get back to you.
Well, it's weird that he doesn't like acting. I mean, he was on like every season of that 70s show as far as I can remember.
Well, I mean,
he did done a lot of stuff.
He did bit stuff, but he said once Cheech kind of started doing his own thing after Cheech and Chong had kind of not separated, but after he had started to do other things, he was like, he never really wanted to go around and do other stuff. He would do things he thought they were fun. He's like, but I never really wanted to have my own acting career. He said, if I had a choice, I'd just go back and do music.
Then, but to be fair, he just kind of played Chong on that 70s show too. So he wasn't really acting. He was just there. I guess present was more of an accurate term, but whatever works.
Yeah, I can't knock any part of this cast. I mean, one thing I will say is that Tarantino's always been a much better actor than I think he gets credit for. I mean, because he's more known as a director, Kill Bill, all the Tarantino films. But when he's on screen, he's awfully good. That's one of the things I kind of like about who's the guy that did the last couple of terrible Thor movies, the director. Anyway, you guys know his name, but it's like he's always been pretty fun too. On screen, he's actually as good an actor as I think he is a director. Clooney, great. Cheech Marin. A couple of guys I want to point out. Yeah, is Michael Parks. I mean, that guy is so damn good. He was in a bunch of Tarantino movies as well. He played. He was the. Fuck it. What was his name? Let me look it up real quick. In Kill Bill, Esteban. He was Esteban Vigilio that she goes to see in Kill Bill Volume 2. He also plays the Ranger Earl McGraw in Kill Bill Volume 1.
That's what I was talking about. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the crazy guy who made what's his name into a fucking into a walrus in Tusk.
Yeah,
Jeremy,
Tusk,
you remember that one?
Oh, in Tusk, Justin Long and Tusk, another underrated Michael Parks role. Have y'all seen Red State by Kevin Smith?
Yeah, he's in that.
Are you really asking me and Frank? Have we seen the Kevin Smith movie?
I'm not. Maybe not y'all, but the proverbial listeners of this little shit. I love how he plays the crazed ultra right wing. He kind of plays like the persona that leftists think all right leaning people are. The crazy dude with an AK-47 everywhere he goes. He plays it very stereotypically and over the top, but it was done purposely. Like, he was, you want crazy? I'll give you crazy kind of thing. And I love how he plays that role. So he was good in that too.
Yeah, he also goes all the way back to some he was Eastwood movies. He was in the Return of Josie Wales. He plays Josie Wales in that movie. I mean, all kinds of stuff.
I didn't know that.
He was in the last Death Wish movie, I think it was made with Charles Bronson. Death Wish.
Charles Bronson.
He went all the way back to that. This was a couple years before from Dusk Till Dawn. But I mean, he goes all the way back to the '60s in all kinds of westerns and stuff like that. So, that guy had been around for a minute. But who else did I want to point out? I forget. Let me. I'll look at it. Harvey Keitel. I mean, if you think about it, everybody in this movie they're slightly one way or another of center. They are not kind of down the line. They do not have their shit together upstairs. The kids that really just because they're young and they don't know, they're inexperienced in life. Obviously, the two brothers are far afield for various different reasons. Everybody in the bar has got one issue or another. Harvey Keitel is the one who kind of brings us back to the center. He's the one character that isn't. I mean, he's got his own internal things for sure, but he's the one who's kind of got the. He's calm. He's collected. He's trying to understand himself, whereas everybody else is just dealing with chaos around them, or in Tarantino's case, causing chaos around them. He's the one who kind of grounds and centers this movie a lot. And I just think it's a testament to how good Harvey Keitel is as an actor. I mean, again, a guy who's been around since the '60s, and he's been so good in so many things that he's somebody who's really he stands out as something other than the rest of this movie, which makes it really interesting.
It's really interesting, like whenever you're first learning, like once the Gecko brothers have took them hostage and they're headed to Mexico, and Seth is like, basically trying to break them down a little bit to, find out about them. And you find out that his wife is dead. And the way that Harvey Keitel kind of plays it, he plays it like this mysterious, like he doesn't want to talk about it, like almost like he had something to do with it. Like, did he kill his wife? Like, he plays it very shadily, like, intriguingly, I guess is the word I'm looking for. But I like how he presents himself in that role there in that moment of like, okay, your wife is dead. Is she in the backyard right now? I mean, you're on the run to Mexico. What's going on here? But that was a lot of fun too.
Yeah. Now let's take a minute to talk about the plot of the movie. Again, it's not the strangest movie ever, but I mean, if you want to put like part Western, part horror, part vampire, part whatever the hell this movie was, I mean, he really does mix up a couple of genres very, very well that hadn't really gone together before in the horror Western thing, or really since. I don't think anybody's tried to make a movie like this since. Tex, what do you think of the plot of the movie? And was there anything you would have changed about it?
Normally my answer is, hey, let's hurry up and get to the bloody stuff. But the first half of this movie is so interesting. I would have sat and watched a 2-hour story about the Gecko brothers just on the run from the law. Like that, their story, the way it was done. I mean, if y'all haven't seen the From Dusk Till Dawn television show that was on El Rey Network a few years ago, they literally took this whole first movie, the plot of this movie, changed a couple things, but they expanded it into a season of television, and then they did a few others. But yeah, no, I like this. This was, I mean, we start off with a tale about two brothers that are bank robbers. That one's a psychopath that likes to do terrible things to women, and the other one's just like he has just enough control over the brother that if he's there, he can keep him together. So, on one hand, we've got George Clooney, who we kind of like him, even though he's a terrible guy, but we can see that he could be much worse because look at his pervert brother. And by the time we get to Mexico, that scene where he sits down at the table with them at the bar, he's like, I don't drink alone, and he puts multiple glasses down. To me, that might be the most important moment in the film because it's like, okay, I know I kidnapped y'all, I took y'all hostage, but I respect you. And he's like, I don't drink alone, and then they go from there and do their thing. He treats the family differently after that, whereas Tarantino, he's just I don't think Tarantino is a good actor unless he's playing a pervert. I mean, if you're looking at Planet Terror or this, he does the pervert role really well. I don't think he does good otherwise, but no, plot-wise with this one, this was fun. It's obviously there were sequels, which I think this is the only movie franchise where every sequel is technically a prequel besides the television series, but whatever. But yeah, no, plot-wise, this works. It's get to a desolate place in Mexico and maybe you turn into a vampire. So why not? Who hasn't been there before when you go into Mexico? Why not?
No, Jeremy, what do you think about the plot? Did it work out for you, or is there anything you would have changed?
No, because like I said, if I would, like Tex said, I'm like, I would watch a 2-hour movie of either of the two movies that were technically in this one.
Oh,
movie,
yeah. Hell yeah.
It almost, like we were saying, we're talking about these grindhouse movies, and it almost feels like if you, like Tex was saying, you go to some seedy theater and yeah, we're gonna have a double feature. I'm like, this is almost like what an amalgamation of some double feature you walk into. Oh, we're gonna watch these two brothers commit a crime and be on the run from the law, and then all of a sudden, all right, now we're having a vampire.
Vampires are here. What happened?
Right, and you're like, wait a minute, wait, hold on. Okay, we can live with that. Yeah, it's it's like I said, it's a fun movie because you're not, and like Frank was saying, if you don't tell someone that you're gonna, actually, even I told Rachel hadn't seen this. I told her that as soon as we get to the bar, we're in it for a few minutes, and she's like, "So they're all vampires?" I'm like, "Just
listen,
pretty much,
just let it happen. Yeah, just let it happen."
I don't want to hear that you don't believe in fucking vampires. I don't fucking believe in vampires, and I just saw a fucking vampire kill my.
But I know what I just saw. I don't believe in vampires.
I believe in what I saw. Yeah. That's a great line, by the way. So good. I love this.
Yeah, and like we're saying, the dynamic between everybody, and it's like we're all thrown into this mix, but then they're all thrown into this one situation. You can have, some depraved and very depraved two criminals with, a family of two kids and a dad who's used to be a pastor who's losing his faith, but he's trying to keep his shit together and not get killed and get them, get the two brothers out of the situation they're in. And it's like hey, we're all having problems here, but we're all going to have one traumatic event we're all going to go through, and we're all going to get closer because of it. Maybe a little too close because we're all going to turn into vampires. But hey, what happens in Mexico, I guess, right? I wouldn't know because I haven't been there either.
I used to love Mexico until going down there as a white man was a guaranteed death sentence, so I don't do that anymore.
Yeah, that's fair. If you don't look at the back of the building where it's suddenly a temple with soundtrack everywhere, I'm like, wait.
Which is a great shot, by the way.
Yeah,
I can't think. I mean, that's right up there with some of the best final shots. I even got it here. That's right up there with some of the best final shots in the movie. Because it's funny because it's like that shot right there, the last scene of the movie, the last shot. I'm like, oh, that explains the whole fucking thing. That explains all of it.
If you look at that, if you look at that, like zoom in on different, like there's cars of different eras. It's not like they just went and got, cars of the last 10 years that are sitting in a junkyard somewhere. There's like stuff from like, 50, 60, like every different generation of like to show that they've been doing this a really long time. So, those little,
Got all eternity.
yeah, it's just, the little details that sell something like that. So, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's a cool ass shot. I like that last shot of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, just kind of like we always say, turn your brain off, just have some fun with the movie. Like, I feel like that first part is to kind of lock you in, and it's the, like we've been saying, it's not necessarily the effects, which the effects we get later from the vampire scene, but we get that dialogue and we get the situation and the intensity of what's going on. It draws you in, and then you're like, "Oh, well, now what happens? Okay, we made it." It's like, well, we still have to wait for Carlos to show up. Like, okay, let's hang out in this bar, which again just happens to be infested with vampires. So yeah, I don't know whose fever dream or which of the three Cheech Marins gave them enough weed to be like, it'd be a really funny movie. Like vampires, man. Like, so.
Hey, I love the Calabra. If I ever turn into a vampire, I hope it's a Calabra. I'll say that because that looks freaking awesome. So I'm down. I will join your team. Please and thank you. So, I'm down.
Oh, also, my mom asked the question, did she like the movie? Yeah, because we said that same thing. Like, we don't have fun anymore with movies. I'm like, this is still when it's fun. She's like, that was interesting. That was a really funny movie.
I would venture to say, now obviously I don't have a history book that has this stat. The Salma Hayek naked scene in this movie has been paused on and froze more than almost any other scene in movie history. Because Jesus Christ, there's no words, man. Like, I will serve you. Yes, ma'am, whatever you have to say. Take my wallet here, kill that guy, okay, whatever, It's just, there's no way.
Like any age, she's always been very attractive. So
hey,
it doesn't really matter.
I don't know if she is proof that God exists or adrenochrome is real. Either way, I don't care if we get that. All right, I'll leave it to you that way. So it's all good.
Yeah, like I said, I really like the plot of the movie. I mean, it's like it's this, but also this. That's kind of where everybody's at with storytelling now, is combining two things that have never really been together. But now it's like you look at this, you're like, okay, kind of a like a bank robbery heist movie in the beginning, a little bit of a couple of bank robbers on the run kind of thing, a kind of a modern day Western, and then it kind of flips into a horror movie. And you don't really, you see them in the bar, and then it's like all of a sudden, some crazy shit like this happens, and it turns into a horror movie.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You're like, oh, wait a minute, this is a different movie all of a sudden. And then everything kind of gets turned on its head. But there's elements of the first part of the movie that kind of exist through the rest of it, but it's like everything kind of changes and it bothers your mind a little bit. But, again, the plot is fantastic. I mean, like I said, two guys on the run, kidnapping other people. They all end up in this crazy situation, and now they have to struggle to survive. Are they going to survive? Are they not? Who deserves to survive? I mean, you're asking yourself the entire movie. Do either George Clooney or Quentin Tarantino deserve to live through this movie? I mean, at the end of the day, you're just kind of happy with what you got because the movie was such a crazy ride. But one of the things that I like about the plot is I love this kind of weird relationship that starts to build between Clooney and Keitel. It's not a friendship. It's most certainly one is most certainly keeping the other one captive. But both these men are broken in different ways, and they kind of use these couple of conversations, these really great dialogue-heavy conversations that they have at a couple points in the movie, to help each other work through their own issues. So by the time you get to the end of the movie, maybe not so much for Harvey Keitel, but by the time you get to the end of the movie, these guys have the characters have kind of figured out where they are, at least in their own hearts. That's the craziest shit, is that they both have had you can see the impact that they have on one another by the time the movie's over. I always thought that if I have to knock this movie on any one thing right now, is I wish it would have been a few minutes longer to give us at least one more conversation between those two. And then maybe at the end of like the last time they have a conversation before all hell breaks loose, they have to fight vampires. That there's this moment where they both come to this realization. Keitel's like, okay, maybe I need to just kind of move on with my life, figure out my relationship with God, yada, yada, yada. And he's just like, maybe when this is over, I just need to stop being a bank robbing asshole and just relax somewhere and work on me, be a better person, a better brother, a better human, and not be such a murdering, bank robbing asshole. Then maybe they both could have found, maybe not perfection, not the perfect versions of themselves, but just something like at least been put on the right path to be better thems, or at least better thems in their opinion. Because I still think that Clooney's character would have been an asshole anyway.
Years down the line, like, I might be a bastard, but I'm not a fucking bastard.
Right? Yeah, it's like this movie is now it's like 28 years old now, almost 30 years old. I'm pretty sure 30 years later, George Clooney's character would still be in Mexico acting like an asshole. He just have a conscience about it. At least that's what I think. But
that reminds me of Pulp Fiction, like at the end where Sam Jackson and oh god, what's his damn name?
Fucking Travolta?
No, the guy that plays Mr. Orange. He plays the robber in the beginning with the girl.
Hell, I forget.
You know what I'm talking about. Keeps calling him Ringo. Yeah, when he's trying to explain the prayer to him, it's like he says like, "You're the weak, and I'm the tyranny of evil men." And well, it is hilarious when he says, "Mr. 9mm here is a shepherd protecting my righteous ass in the valley of darkness." So it's kind of like, you know, you
Tim Roth. Tim
Roth. I was like, I know he's English. Tim Roth. When he's explaining to him like what the prayer really meant, you know, saying like maybe you know, I'm the righteous man, and you know, you're this, you know. So it kind of has that same dichotomy that maybe Clooney is the tyranny of evil men. He is the, you know, the criminal, and maybe Harvey Keitel is, you know, the righteous man. Shit like that. You know what I mean? It's like there's still that weird kind of vibe there. Like, remember, it's all connected. All these movies are connected.
Well, that's what I was going to say was, I can't remember the theory off the top of my head, but there was a theory that the Gecko brothers were part of the crew from Reservoir Dogs, because the black suits, the sunglasses, obviously the Tarantino connection. That, and obviously this isn't real. It's just a fun fan theory that in the Tarantino verse, or whatever you want to call it, that the Gecko brothers worked with that crew at some point in time, you know, for being from the same era and everything else. So,
maybe
cool.
maybe that's Mr. Purple, because when he said like, why do I gotta be Mr. Pink? Why can't I be Mr. Purple? He's like, Mr. Purple's on another job. I'm like, maybe that was them. I don't.
Hey, Seth,
you know what I mean?
Seth could be Mr. Purple. Who knows? I don't know. Although those tattoos are very identifiable marks if you're in a lineup. But
true.
Good luck with that.
True, but again, I guess the irony is that, you know, it's not like Harvey Keitel is not one of those guys. He's Mr. White, even though in this movie he was wearing an awful lot of white, being the shepherd. So I mean, to be fair,
that's why it's the. I mean, whether isn't it the red apple cigarettes that are always in the Tarantino movies as well?
Red apple cigarettes is one thing that's in every movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, the Big Kahuna Burger was in like Pulp Fiction, and this one. I was gonna say I like the fact that like it's funny how this is another facet of these movies that I love is that the same thing with Reservoir Dogs is like the thing already happened. This is the aftermath of what happened. You know what I mean? Like they already robbed the bank, they already did the job, and now this is them after the fact hiding out in that, you know, that decrepit warehouse or whatever, trying to figure out like, you know, there's a rat somewhere in our group. Like what happened?
They're in that warehouse right in the middle of town, screaming and firing guns. Yeah, they're really hiding out in Reservoir Dogs. Good job, guys.
And cutting people's ears off to, you know, stuck in the middle with you. Whatever. As Mickelson can do whatever he wants. But he is supposed to be John Travolta's brother. So, you know, it's Vincent Vega and Vic Vega.
That is true. Yeah.
Brothers. So again, it's all It's all the same. But I like how that's the same thing with this. It's like, you know, we've seen plenty of movies with bank robberies and shit like that. I like that it's like, yeah, you don't need to see that part. We know we've seen that a million times. This is the after. Same with the Gecko brothers. Like, they're already on the run from whatever they did. So I like that it's kind of a cool comparison that these both kind of start the same way. It's interesting.
Have either of y'all ever seen the From Dusk Till Dawn, the TV series that came on TV?
No, I never watched it.
It's a lot of fun. I don't know where it's streaming at. It was either 3 or 4 seasons that they did. I watched all of them. The first season was all based off of this movie, and you know how Quentin Tarantino in this movie is kind of crazy and loopy and whatever. It's not really explained. In the television show, he's that way because Santanico basically like is messing with his head from afar, and they get deeper into the weeds of this plot and this story on the television show, which is why I would recommend y'all go find it and watch it. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of cool stuff within this franchise.
No, sometimes I don't need an explanation. Like, I don't need to know what was in the damn briefcase in Pulp Fiction. I mean,
we all know that was his soul. Come on, that was his soul.
Or it was just a little fucking switch and a little light bulb. I know what was in there.
Right.
I love that people post just like that picture of just a briefcase with a light bulb in it, and they're like,
if you know, you know.
if you know what this is, I'm like, yeah, I know what it is. That's all you need to know about it.
Yeah, real
Pulp Fiction.
Now let's talk about something that I know is near and dear to both of you, especially Jeremy, being a practitioner of this yourself. Let's talk about the special effects, the kills, visuals of it all. I mean, the second half of this movie. This is one of my favorite visions of this movie.
Like I said, we don't have fun with movies anymore. Damn it, that is such a funny shot.
Hey, if you can't like that, just go join Al Qaeda right now. I got nothing for you, man. That's just one of those things.
Or the dancers on the table, which is hilarious.
Right. That's if you don't like that, then just move to California and get it over with.
That doesn't sum up this movie, yeah.
Yeah, once this happens, once this part of the movie happens, it's special effects and insanity take over. And that makes this movie even better once we get to this part. I don't know. I'll go to you first, Tex. What do you think of the special effects, the makeup, just kind of the visuals that happen in the second half of the movie? How do they work for you?
Oh, I love it. It's a time period. It's a piece. Like, I love when like Sex Machine is like changing into the Calabria. He's and like Fred Williamson is like having a conversation. And it's like going on in the background, and you see him. He's looking at the camera. He's still Tom Savini. Then he turns and boom, he's a vampire now. It's the whole Santanico, how she turns. I've never been attracted to a snake before until I saw her as a snake, and then I'm like, okay, I'm down. I'm good. Here, whatever.
Oh, there's Danny Trejo.
Look at that. There's Danny Trejo. Still growing out the long hair. He hasn't quite gone full machete yet. He's like in mullet mode at that point.
Yeah, he got to the awkward stage.
Right, you got to get through the awkward phase of that long hair growth. But I like the effects in this. Like, one of the things that probably the most famous shot in this movie is when old boy gets his head cut into, and they don't cut away from it. And the reason why that's so effective is because that effect was supposed to be used in Evil Dead 2, but they made him cut away from it within Evil Dead 2, so you never got to see it. So Nicotero and them put it in this movie as like a ha-ha to the MPAA. Like, we still got our movie. And they were smart enough to not show red blood, which, as y'all know, MPAA that's a no-no for them. So they went with the green blood, like in Alien, which makes these kind of vampires stand out even better because you got this Joker green blood coming out of them. It just looks awesome. So the effects work for this. Is it dated? Yes, but it's supposed to be. This is Grindhouse era cinema. it's not supposed to look like it's a CG. Yeah, it's low budget. All three of us love low budget horror. You know, this is the definition of that. So how can you not love it?
Jeremy, how about you? You do this all the time. You are balls deep in it right now with all your stuff at the haunt. I mean, what do you think of the effects, the way they were used, the cinematography of it all? What do you think of it all?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's cool, and that's why I love practical effects, as I will never stop saying, because working in a haunt like that, I'm like, yeah, there are special effects. I'm like, but you don't have CG. I'm like, you have to make this thing. You have to make a set, a prop, something, some sort of effect happen, and it has to happen right in front of people. So it's like, it's something tangible you can see. So it just looks a little better. Now, like we said, is it a little dated? Like when she transitions into this the snake vampire thing, I'm like, it looks a little weird, but again, you don't really care, because at this point, if you've already just kind of locked into the fact that, again, now we're in a vampire movie, like, sure, like, you don't really care. And like he was saying, I halfway through realized, like, when they impale one of the vampires on the chest and all the green blood squirts out, I'm like, yeah, I forgot. That's how you get around getting, slapped with like an X-rating or something. Yeah, it's weird. All you gotta do is change the color of the blood. It's that simple. It's really weird.
If you ever listen to the commentary track, Quentin Tarantino does this. I watched it years and years ago. I had the DVD of it. Quentin Tarantino goes, I don't think it's that the MPAA hates blood. I think they hate the color red. So that's why they make you change it, being a ha-ha funny thing.
I don't know how that makes it different, but sure.
Right, what's the difference? Whatever.
Well, because a quick side rant, there's a video game I have that, like, literally one of the settings, and it's so stupid, one of the settings you can change is the color of the blood that comes out of the guys and the dinosaurs you shoot. You can change it from red to green. I'm like, I was like, it's the same thing. It's just the blood turns green. I'm like, sure, whatever. And it's a really old, like,
so
maybe
the
PS1
violence of cutting the guy's head off is fine, but if it squirts red, God help you. Like, you're in trouble. That's when you've gone too far.
They're PS1 blocky, square, kind of humanoid-shaped things that are running at me, and I'm just, bam! And he just falls over, and green blood squirts
like
out.
The old,
that makes it fun.
What was the old cheat code for the Mortal Kombat games back on the old Nintendo days that you had to put in to get the real blood violence?
The Konami code?
Yeah. The Konami code or whatever. Yeah.
Start. That's what it is.
Hey, the man knows. He's probably got a tattoo of it on his arm or something. That's how dedicated.
Because I would put it right across there or something. Anywho, no, it's like we got dumb shit. Like, all of a sudden, Fred Williamson's just hucking these like vampire dancers over his shoulder and impales each of them on the damn table. I'm like, okay. Sure, and some of it you don't have to show, so you can just show them, like, stabbing downwards at some shit and then having blood come up. That's an awesome picture. I love that.
I will say this though, while you get the picture up, I would put him in the same. His mustache is in the same level as the Sam Elliott mustache for this film. Though I will say that thing had its own character bio and trailer probably. So he was sporting that thing, buddy.
And speaking of him, like I said, I said this earlier, they all have different looks for their vampire form, which was cool. You had one of Cheech up there for a second. Yeah, they all had a different look to them, which was really cool, because, like, I love that you make them all. Yeah, there's Cheech as a vampire. You make them all look pretty unique, and that's what was cool. It's like you can slap some fangs on people and maybe, like that. Like, I know it's Danny Trejo, but that's still horrifying. I wouldn't dare be pissing Danny Trejo off in any bar anywhere, but especially if he looked like that. There's Keitel as a vampire. Yeah, so you can tell a lot of work went into this and to each one, and I can't really knock anything, especially when all of a sudden the band starts playing instruments that are just human limbs. That was pretty damn funny.
I think there is one thing you can knock.
You know how hard it was to find the picture too?
I was like, I hope you had that.
Great guitar though. Like,
I mean,
Is that human hair stringing that guitar? I always wondered.
Or it could be a tendon, a couple tendons on there to make a base.
Or tendons, yeah, either way.
Yeah.
There's only one effect shot in this whole movie that I would criticize, but very lightly in a funningly way. If you watch this movie, like once Sex Machine starts turning and Fred Williamson's doing his thing, and once the vampires start exploding, if you look at the guys in the background, you can clearly see that those are mannequins, that they don't move from frame to frame. They stand there in the exact same position until they just explode. It's one of those funny, movie making deals. Like if you're just watching it for enjoyment, you'll never see it. But if you've got a critical eye, like, oh, hey, there it is right there. It's kind of one of those things. Kind of funny how they did that.
How they get them to melt into the floor? That's really cool.
This is cheap filmmaking. They didn't have a $200 million budget, so do what you got to do.
And I guess kind of in the vein of not really effect but props. Like I like that they each had a different style of weapon too. Like I mean, as simple as I never would have thought a little sawn-off shotgun and a fucking wooden baseball bat to make a cross. To then use that to pump your shotgun and shoot these vampires in the mouth. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool.
Hey, it's not Sex Machine's pistol. It's not the cross shotgun. A rubber full of holy water will save your ass, buddy. That's the ticket.
His son pulls up the super soaker. I'm like, oh, it's on. Here we go.
Hey,
he's gonna squirt these vampires with holy water.
This just proves rubbers can save your life, whether it's 18 years of child support and or vampires. So go buy some.
Yeah, you fill a little tequila and light these fuckers on fire. It's easy. I am a little bit concerned about how easily those condoms full of tequila broke, but I mean, I don't think that's here or there since we're fighting vampires.
These were those like 25-cent condoms from the machine in the men's bathroom at the gas station. These weren't the Trojan.
Yeah, that was like when he.
Oh, that looks cool.
When he burns half of his dad's face with that, yeah. God, that's cool. Like I said,
and
a lot of
who knew carving a cross in the front of a bullet would make it explosive? Yeah, like who knew? Like,
there's the cross.
Like, I'm gonna need to go through all my rounds and just carve a cross in just so I can, explode some mofos.
Just in case one day some vampires start. Yeah.
Hey, the apocalypse could happen tonight. We don't know what's going to happen. So you never know. So,
I was kind of forgetting. I'm like, why are they getting shot? Now they're Oh, right. They etched the cross into the soft tip of the bullet. I'm like, oh yeah, they're getting shot with that. Like, who cares? That's so funny. Here comes Christ coming at you at a couple thousand feet a second.
They're just lucky these weren't hollow point because you ain't carving nothing in the end of the hollow point.
Yeah, or they're not full metal jackets, then you're gonna have a problem. Yeah. It's lucky these are soft tip. Yeah.
Great makeups here by Greg Nicotero with that full body makeup. Like they look similar, but they're still different. Like that's so cool. I love that.
Especially when like Clooney's like tussling with that full-bodied one on the ground, and I think the daughter like shot it in the head with the crossbow. That was pretty cool because like I'm like now we got a full like that, like we got full body effects ones. And actually, isn't that Nicotero there on the left? I think with the long hair.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wait a minute, I see him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love the
makeup. A legend.
It's the amount of work that went into that.
Yeah, it did have some Rick Baker feel to it in spots, especially like in this shot. I mean,
I'll say that.
I was watching this the other day. I remember kind of looking at this shot and kind of going back in my head to the all the zombies for the Thriller video that Rick Baker did. Because like we were talking about how they're all kind of unique with the same thing. If you hear Rick Baker talk about how he did the zombie effects for the Thriller video, it's kind of one of the same. He's like, I wanted them to all be like gross, decomposed corpse, but I still wanted them all to have like individual personalities.
Yeah.
So I was watching this, so it was kind of in my head. I was also kind of seeing that last scene in Thriller with the zombies and Michael Jackson all reaching at the girl on the couch, and they were all kind of very different and the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the special effects of this. Jeremy says they're dated, and I think they kind of are. But
it works.
That's the best thing about practical effects is you can still look at them 30, 40, 50 years later. I mean, even some of the stuff from like Chainsaw, from the original Chainsaw.
Yeah.
It's like it's still for practical, it still works very, very well. And this is despite the fact that it's 157 years old. So yeah, so like I said, that's why practical is always better. It ages better. Even if the movie's not great, the effects are fantastic.
It's insane that even a movie as old as like The Birds from Hitchcock, I'm like, yeah, you can tell some of the little fake birds that like smack into crap, but I'm like, that movie is A, still horrifying, but B, it's crazy that like that long ago and you still made this movie look the way it did, and it's still convincing. Like,
well,
because how else are you going to get a bunch of birds to do shit like that?
The Technicolor effect on those birds is half the reason why it's so frightening. Because it looks like it's out of this world, and that's what good effects can do. Whether it's, Screaming Mad George, Tom Savini, Rick Baker, Greg Nicotero, these are like the Mount Rushmore of effects guys. And Tom Savini, he had to go to war to see what this stuff looked like, and look what he literally made a career out of this. That's why these effects look so real that they do. And whenever these guys get together and work, you've got Greg Nicotero and Savini on the same project. There's no way that they didn't collab and help with this stuff. Like, there ain't no way.
That's why it looks cool.
Looks great. Oh yeah, it's awesome.
Let's see, but now let's get to a little bit of the trivia now. Boy, I've got plenty to go over with this movie. All kinds of good stuff. They said that apparently this was according to Selma Hayek. She did not have a choreographer for her dance because, according to her, you can't choreograph the live snake she wore around her neck. So director Robert Rodriguez just told her to feel the music and dance to it. So she did.
Hey,
and
Robert Rodriguez.
She did it before Brittany did. God damn it.
Hey,
Selma Hayek did it first.
That's all I got to say.
Eat your heart out, Britney Spears.
Yeah, go away, Britney Spears. You were never the first. You were always second fiddle.
That scene in the movie, though, that is the cut scene to where the next portion begins. Because prior to that, it's a heist kidnap film, and then the minute Santico's dancing, and then she sticks her foot in Tarantino's mouth, which he wrote that purposely.
Yeah, real fucking subtle.
Yeah.
That is the only foot shot in this movie too. It's like we all know what he's about.
Right, he was like, "I've got Selma Hayek. I'm sucking on them toes, by God." Like his perverted ass.
Hold on. To be fair, the way that was framed, I'm like, I don't know if that was actually Selma Hayek's foot, but I'm like, if it was, holy shit.
I don't know if it was either.
Frame, I'm like, I don't know if it was her, but
I don't think Quentin Tarantino cares. He gets a suck on a lady's feet. He's fine.
I know. I know the point is he's getting his freak on. I understand what he's about.
Yeah, no, I always thought that scene had Daniel Snyder written all over it. If you know who Daniel Snyder, Jeremy knows. If you know, you know. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
But let's see. According to the DVD feature,
Nick said yummy. Jesus Christ, Nick! What the hell?
Like you didn't just Nick Wood hack a second ago. Come on now.
Nick Wood. Anyway. Let's see. According to the DVD features, when Sex Machine is throwing around the other characters, Tom Savini actually punched many of the actors, including George Clooney.
Damn it, dude.
Hey, you got to sell it, man.
Yeah.
You got to live the role. You have to commit to the part. Whether it's putting cheap black eye makeup on your eyes and it burns the next day when you're at work, or in a fist fight with Tom Savini. You do what you got to do. So it's all good.
That didn't make perfect sense, though. I mean, hey, you got to sell it. You got to do the real thing. It's not the first time it's happened.
Okay.
Famously,
there's no way you try to choreograph a fight and you not end up taking a few hits to the face or wherever. So
this isn't Batman 66 where you go boom, zing, pow. That doesn't work in this movie. You know what I'm saying? You got to lay them in. It's.
You know, it's really great when that kind of thing happens and actors work with it. Most famously, you guys remember the Punisher movie? You wrestling fans out there will know Steve Nash. The Punisher movie that he was in, there's that part where he gets stabbed by the knife. Or Kevin Nash. I don't know why it's basketball player.
Yeah.
In that scene, he is stabbed in the chest. He just kind of looks down and like goes with an axe, and that's the scene they put in the movie. When he was actually stabbed with that switchblade. He actually had to get like stitches and shit. Also, in what was that one Tarantino movie with fucking Leonardo DiCaprio?
Oh, he cut Django. He cut his hand open.
Django. He actually does cut his hand in that scene, and all that is real blood that's gushing from his hand, and he just keeps acting with it. And Tarantino was like, "That wasn't supposed to happen, but I'll take it. So it makes the scene so much cooler."
Just like we said with Texas Chainsaw, they actually cut the end of Sally Hardesty's finger open because they were like, "Well, we can't get the damn effect to work," so they cut the end of her finger for real. I'm like, that's what they used in the movie. So do what you gotta do.
Yeah, you gotta, especially on a movie like this. I mean, it's dirty. It's, you don't have the best stunt choreographers, and if you need it to look real, guess what? George Clooney's taking one to the face. Square job, George.
He was training for Batman for next year, right? Is that what he was doing?
Yeah. That's okay. How could George Clooney be so dark and awesome in this movie, and then give us the all shucks 90-minute horrible Batman that we got? How did that happen?
Because somewhere in between this movie and casting for Batman, he became an A-list Hollywood hunk. I mean, he was kind of already a little bit on his way. I think this is right up
when you become A-list,
he makes a good Bruce Wayne because he's a good-looking dude. I'm like, but
not a great Batman.
Not a great Batman. No, he's got Bruce Wayne.
Batman is dark. Okay, so you would think that the Gecko brother could pull off dark, not smiley, all shucks, updated. I don't know.
They were still trying to do too much camp, and it didn't work. That was the problem with the '90s Batman.
Yeah,
I know.
Well, that they wanted to be more kid-friendly. They wanted to sell more toys, and Tim Burton.
It's not like they didn't make toys.
And then Michael Keaton was like, "Well, he's not around. I'm not around."
I know
they didn't make toys before they made the movie. They're like, "Hey, you got to sell this." That didn't happen. That's awkward.
I know that Joel Schumacher literally apologized to the day that he died for those two Batman movies that he did. But I still don't accept it. It's still not enough. I'm gonna need George Clooney and Schwarzenegger to continue to apologize for what they did to Batman in the '90s. So it is what it is.
We'll give Val Kilmer a pass because he was Doc Holliday.
Hey, Val Kilmer, he was Doc Holliday, and he's got the health stuff. He gets a pass. All right, dude, we're good. So we'll just blame George extra. How about that? So, works for me.
If you look closely, when Cheech Marin is playing the customs agent near the beginning of the movie, his name badge says Oscar Marin. That is the name of Cheech's real-life father, who was an LAPD officer.
Oh, that's cool.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Huh.
Which makes it hilarious that he became famous being a pot-smoking...
I was going to say, was he on Haight Ashbury? Maybe over that direction? Yeah, that's funny.
Now, obviously, Go ahead, Tech. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Juliette Lewis in that scene is hilarious because she's sitting there on the can pretending to do her business when he kicks the door open. Could you close the fucking door? She said it was hilarious.
That was pretty funny. Let's see. Let's get to the band now. The band playing in the Titty Twister is Tito and Tarantula featuring Robert Rodriguez. The lineup also features Oingo Boingo's drummer Johnny Vatos Hernandez.
Yep.
They actually did work.
And they also
who was it? They did some stuff on a couple other Robert Rodriguez movies. I forget exactly which one.
They're also in Roadhouse as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The drummer, I actually saw him live when I was probably about 12 years old. I went and saw Oingo Boingo at the Catalyst in Santa Cruz, California, when I was probably 12 years old. That was when Oingo Boingo was becoming popular, and then of course, and that was actually
one of the best band names ever. Oingo Boingo,
oh, yeah.
Great band name.
Dead Man's Party is still one of my favorite '80s songs. It's a classic. But God, I saw him there. That was actually right before Danny Elfman had done the Simpsons theme. And I think it was a year or two later that he would do the Batman theme, and that's when he would start his relationship with
he did with
Tim Burton.
That was late 80s, yeah.
He would have done the Batman theme in like 88, 87 maybe. I mean prior to 89, so somewhere right in there.
Yeah, because Simpsons was around that time too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was right around the time the Simpsons was coming on. But let's see. You know what? You know what could have been. Let me find a good picture of George Clooney for this. What could have been. Actually, I kind of like this picture. Let me go with this one instead. This is another great shot from the other movie. Let's see. Before George Clooney was cast, numerous actors were considered for the role of Seth Gecko, including Antonio Banderas, which I'm not surprised at.
That would have been cool.
Steve Buscemi, Michael Madsen, Tim Roth, John Travolta, Christopher Walken, Jeff Goldblum, James Woods, and Robert De Niro. They all passed because of scheduling conflicts. The only one to outright decline the role was Travolta, who said he had no interest in doing a vampire movie and instead chose to do Pulp Fiction.
I mean, but that's fair, though.
Yeah.
I could see Michael Madsen.
I was going to say like 90% of that is like everybody from Pulp Fiction or Reservoir Dogs, but okay. You know. All the same people.
They were people that I think
I would say
at this point had a relationship with Tarantino from one film or another. I mean, it was early in the Tarantino sphere, but I mean, they're all still guys that have worked with him. I mean, Banderas would have been cool, but I mean, I don't know. I kind of like Clooney more than Banderas. Buscemi, I can't really see it. There's still too much comedy about Buscemi. He's still a little too funny.
Yeah, you don't take. Trying. Even in Reservoir Dogs, you don't take him seriously. He's made his comic relief in that movie. Now, Michael Madsen, I could have seen. Michael Madsen has that serious kind of dark edge to him. I could have seen that. The only other person besides Clooney I could have seen that you didn't was there would maybe like a Kurt Russell. But then again, you could say Kurt Russell for any 80s or 90s tough guy action role in it.
Yeah. But, you know, the one name on this list that kind of interests me is Tim Roth, because I've always, because there's a certain darkness that Clooney gives the character that makes the character really, really well, and I think Tim Roth can do that kind of thing because there's this kind of second act in the Incredible Hulk, the one with the one that everybody forgets about.
Edward Norton.
Edward Norton.
Mm-hmm.
Like he starts at the beginning of the movie, he's the military guy. In the middle of the movie, as he's kind of his mind is starting to slip because of the super soldier serum that they gave him that's fucking with his body. Mm-hmm. That period before he gets the rest of it and turns into the Abomination, he does kind of do his character does take a really cool dark twist where you can see kind of the struggle of him slipping into madness, which I thought is a very underrated part of that movie. That part of his performance is awesome. So I think an entire movie of him doing something like that could have been cool.
That Hulk movie is actually my favorite Hulk movie that's ever been made. But the problem with Tim Roth at this time, I mean, I'd say he was most famous for probably his role in Pulp Fiction as the robber that robs the diner or attempts to rob the diner at the beginning and the end of the movie there. He played more weaselly at the time. He didn't. Did he have the dark side? Sure, but he doesn't have the presence that Clooney does. So
he played a little more in Reservoir Dogs because he had to play the guy that. If spoilers, if you haven't seen that, he's the rat. But you know, he's got to play both of those sides. Like he's got to be one of the criminals, but he's also trying to infiltrate his
right.
So maybe I don't know.
Yeah, Walken and Goldblum. God, as much as I love those two actors.
No,
I feel like it would have been interesting.
No,
maybe Goldblum, but no.
I don't take Jeff Goldblum seriously in any role that I see him in now. I can't not see the.
He was doing Jurassic Park, right? That was '93. That was the year before.
Yeah,
that, so he was probably too busy doing that.
Yeah, he's Jeff Goldblum and Walking.
Two words. The Fly.
The Fly. Was it The Fly?
Oh well, that's what I was going to say. He's great in The Fly. That's actually my favorite role from him, but I don't see him in this though. Like this, you need in The Fly. There's a madness. This role takes a dark, more of a killer role than going crazy role. I don't know. I think out of that, I don't know.
I think Walken could have done it. What was that one horror franchise he was? It was the Phantasm. No, it wasn't Phantasm.
Oh no.
No, he wasn't the tall man.
Fuck, what was that? I never talking about.
How old was Walken by this point? Because He may have been a little too
He was
old.
also in Sleepy Hollow, right? He played the Headless
Yeah.
Horseman.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, but that was in the 2000s.
That was in the 90s, wasn't it? Sleepy
No,
Hollow.
those are like late 90s, early 2000s.
Right around 2000.
1999. Ask me when Harold and Kumar came out, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
Got you.
Hey, I just said late 90s, early 2000s. So
Yeah, no, it was 99. Yeah.
yeah, I'm taking half credit on this one, buddy. But
Walken was in his 50s.
Oh.
God damn, he's 81
Like-
now.
Yeah, he is. Man, he's
okay, but see, here's the problem though. Like, whoever you cast as the lead has to fit with Tarantino and believable as a brother. And even though George Clooney and Tarantino, they look nothing alike, you buy them as brothers. So I don't see Christopher Walken and Tarantino working together well. That's the only thing for me.
I could have seen Clooney and like Antonio Banderas working together pretty well. You could probably believe they're brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the Dead Zone that he was in the 80s.
Well, oddly enough,
I swear to God, that was
Another
the worst
actor-
thing he did. I can't remember it though.
another actor that would have worked well because he was the star of from Dusk Till Dawn 2, Texas Blood Money, Robert Patrick, the T-1000. He could have played the
right.
George Clooney role in this one, and it worked as well. But they saved him for the sequel. So, it's all good.
Yeah.
I could have swore there was another horror property that he was in. I just drawn a blank on it. But yeah, James
Walken?
Woods. Yeah, James Woods. I think could have done it.
Maybe.
Good actor. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. They're different kind of screen presence. Like De Niro is the one that I'm kind of like. As much as I love De Niro as an actor, I just think in every movie he plays the New York gangster.
What's up, Jay?
I don't know if that movie, if that kind of performance would have worked for this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't see it.
When we're in Death Wish.
You're right.
The Prophecy. That's what I was thinking of.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking of. I knew it was something like that. Oh, thank you, JSP. Oh, God, that was driving me nuts. I knew there was something else.
I haven't seen that one in a long time. It's been a long time since I've seen that.
Yeah, let's see.
I was just gonna say he came out in '95, so De Niro might have been a little tied up with that. So I don't know.
Yeah, true. And I'm way better off having him in Heat. Way better off having him in Heat.
And he, yeah, that's great fucking
I wouldn't have seen De Niro in this. That he's way too short to be the leading man of a role like this. I wouldn't have bought it. I don't think it would have worked.
But let's see. Juliette Lewis was actually cast because of her friendship with Quentin Tarantino. She previously appeared in Natural Born Killers, as Jeremy said, in 1994, whose original screenplay was written by Tarantino. Let's see. And Tarantino liked her so much that he suggested to her that she play Kate.
Yeah, it works.
Well, it's such a difference from what she is in Natural Born Killers, which is a tremendous movie, by the way. That she comes off very well in this role. I think she works well.
Also,
Yeah,
hilariously,
My dog's
her
trying to
and
get her
Fred
head.
Williamson- also her and Fred Williamson were both in the Starsky and Hutch movie, which is really funny. So, because he played the police captain and she was the side piece to Vince Vaughn's character. I'm like, you guys were in that little weird movie in the '90s about vampires. So funny stuff.
Let's see. Originally, as I said earlier, Quentin Tarantino pitched this to John Travolta the same time he was preparing to do Pulp Fiction. Travolta, as I said earlier, was not interested in working on a vampire movie and wanted to work on Pulp Fiction instead. For Pulp Fiction, he ended up being nominated for Best Actor, and it revitalized what at the time was kind of his failing career.
It's been a long time since Saturday Night Fever and Grease. So, I mean,
somebody with more AI skills than me, take the convenience store scene from this movie and then cut out John Travolta doing the thing where he's looking around for Pulp Fiction and just have him in the back of the convenience store. Like he's on his way to Pulp Fiction. Yeah, he's just standing. He's got the coat over the arm, the whole thing.
Mhm.
That would be a great super cut to see if somebody could put that together. It'd be a lot of fun.
It's usually, I think it's TSS2 that always did that kind of stuff for Drew over on Derailed. So come on, TSS.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, and I'm just saying, if we want to keep this all in the same universe, you could have done Kurt Russell, and he pulls up in the Death Proof car, and he's like, "Get in, bro, let's go."
Oh
See what
yeah.
I mean? That would have been pretty funny.
Yeah.
You guys mentioned Greg Nicotero earlier. He actually did serve as makeup artist in almost all of the films of Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino. Outside of those partnerships, he's won 2 Emmys for his work on what show, Jeremy?
I think it's I don't know. Is it that little indie show called The Walking Dead?
It certainly is.
Carl.
Yeah. How did I guess? And he's, like I said, he's in that shot. He's all the way to the left, and then like he was a zombie. I don't know how many damn times in Walking Dead. So yeah, guy's crazy. I love it. He does some good work.
Well, I was at Walmart today doing a delivery. They have the complete box set of Walking Dead for like $120 on Blu-ray or whatever. The box and the artwork is incredible. I was like, I need this on my wall right now. It looks amazing.
I think I bought every season as they came out, like starting all the way back in 2010. I'm like, I've got, they're all original.
I've seen
here, damn it.
Well, I take that back. I watched all of the seasons up until Rick died, and then I kind of faded away. And then
he didn't die
as the last few, dies. And as the main show was ending, I kind of found my way back to it just out of morbid curiosity. But that show fell off bad once they pumped out Negan. I was like, okay, this is something.
It's almost like none of these motherfuckers read the comic. I'm like, how the fuck are you gonna be mad? That was the point,
right? Oh yeah, no, they well, Robert Kurtzman, he should have stuck to his own work. But I loved Walking Dead comic books. And the early seasons of the show were great.
Yeah, like I said, that was the point of Negan. Is you get to 100 issues of a comic, it's kind of like, holy crap! It's like I need to breathe some life into this. So I'm gonna bring in this big, like every other, using an F-bomb as a comma for every sentence he ever utters, and he's gonna bash people's heads in with a baseball bat named after his dead wife. And they're like, yep, that's what we're doing. I'm like, yeah. On issue 100, we're like, yeah, we're cracking some skulls. Let's go.
Hey,
so
I still say they shouldn't have killed off Shane. Shane was one of the best things about that show.
He died faster in the comic. He was dead like in no time. He had to go.
I know.
He's at least the reason they figured out how the walkers even worked in the first place. Like, in the comic, it just gnaws at Rick, and I'm like, you know how cold that is? You shoot, you kill your own best friend, and you drive all the way back out to where he's dug. You dig him up just to go look at his body, like, oh yeah, that's how that works.
Right.
He basically says like, yeah, fuck you, man. Buries him back up and drives back to the prison.
We could easily turn this into a Wednesday night Walking Dead show and just go on for 5 hours. I'm down.
You did say, hey, if we wanted, we could do a cover of each season, just a broad thing of each season.
Hey, I am down. I am more than willing to do it after Halloween because my watching calendar is filled after that, up until that point. But in November, I'm clear. I am more than willing to do a rewatch of Walking Dead if we want to cover it.
That's at least 11 episodes covered that we don't have to worry about. And then I'm like, but if you want to get into the spinoffs, because it's all connected, we got a couple more to go.
Yeah.
So,
we're gonna need to iron out the details of what spinoffs are even thought about. But we'll figure that out later.
Yeah. So keep an eye on the channel for that. That may be happening at some point.
Might be doing walkers from here
we'll see.
2025. So
no doubt. Right. But Sex Machine's crotch gun, of which I could not get a picture of from the website that I've been using because of the way they work. It's not that they didn't have it on there.
It's exactly what you think it is.
It's exactly what I think it is. It can actually be seen in Desperado in 1995 when they search his guitar case and the false top starts to lift.
Oh,
it's all connected.
I forgot about that.
It is. Yeah.
And you can also connect this to George Romero's Dawn of the Dead because Sex Machine, Tom Savini, is wearing the exact same clothes and outfit and looks exactly like his character from Dawn of the Dead. So, maybe it's a Romero universe. Maybe this is like somehow Tom Savini both became a zombie and a vampire. I don't know how you iron that out, but multiverse, whatever. It's all good.
Wait a minute. Wait. That just got... Hold on. Tex just got me with something. That's a really deep cut. Bear with me here. Video game reference.
Okay.
In the first Left 4 Dead game, which is, of course, about zombies. The big biker guy, Francis, says, I ain't gonna let these vampires get me. And he's like, they're zombies, Francis. He's like, whatever, man. It's the same thing. I'm like, no, it's not.
Oh,
So,
shit.
yeah. I don't know. That's a weird deep cut right there. He's like, yeah,
Maybe we just uncovered a nod to Tom Savini that maybe very few people know about.
Even though that's the green flu, it's something different. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, that's a funny quip that he's like, yeah, I'm not gonna let these vampires get me. And the other guys are like, they're zombies, dude. He's like, whatever, same thing.
Right.
That's funny. I want to play Left 4 I've really been wanting to play Left 4 Dead lately, and I don't have my Xbox hooked up. It's pissing me off. I can't find the cord.
Better get on that, man. Better get on that.
I packed them separately like an idiot, so I know the cord is in some box somewhere, and the Xbox itself is just sitting there. So I gotta find the two and make it happen.
Let's see. Back to Sex Machine for a minute. Sex Machine's use of a whip to combat vampires is a reference to the legendary vampire killer whip of the Belmonts in Castlevania from 1986. You know that game, Jay.
I was like, wait, yeah, the whip from because it's and in the later games it's a big cross that like the chain like whips out and that Gabriel uses. Yeah, that's true. Shit.
I've never played one of those games before.
Oh, Castlevania's fun, man.
Oh, I used to play the fuck out of Castlevania when I was a kid.
If you want to play like a more recent one, play like Lords of Shadow and Lords of Shadow 2, or and when Gabriel turns into a fucking vampire at the end, oh my god. What? Yeah, it's cool.
I've been looking for a reason to use this picture. Let's see. One of my all-time favorite bands from when I was a kid was NXS. The lead singer of that band, Michael Hutchins, his manager, Martha Troop, said that in Details magazine in July of 1988 that Hutchins had actually received a script for the From Dusk Till Dawn sequel shortly before his death on November 22nd, 1997.
Oh.
That would have been dope. Oh, that would have been dope.
So he was going to be in Texas Blood Money? He was going to be one of the bank robbers?
All it said was sequel. I don't know if it was that exact film or if it got reworked because scripts get rewritten and reworked.
Oh, yeah.
Get changed all the time. But he did get a script, apparently, according to his manager, of a Dusk Till Dawn sequel shortly before he died, which would have been awesome. NXS is one of my favorite bands. They always have been.
Very cool.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Let's see. We owe this film. We owe this film a little bit of a knock. Let's see. This is the film that inspired Joel Schumacher to cast George Clooney in Batman and Robin in 1997.
Don't tell me this was how. I kept thinking, I'm like, I know Batman's a year later. I'm like, tell me something I didn't watch this movie and think, this guy would make a good Batman. God damn it, Joel Schumacher.
So let's take.
I don't know how you saw
Seth
this.
Gecko,
Batman.
What? From killing vampires and cussing and being a badass to adopting a 25-year-old man and then taking in Albert's American British niece, not named Barbara Gordon. Whatever. Don't get me started on the Schumacher version.
There were bats in this movie. He's a Batman. I don't know.
The reason why that movie failed so badly is what's Dream Team?
Well, they made the toys first.
That won the bronze medal. I forget. But I mean, the same thing happened to the Dream Team in whatever year when they just decided to get a bunch of scorers. They just we're going to take the top 8 or 9 scorers from the NBA and put them on our Dream Team. And they ended up winning the bronze medal and got beat down by a couple of teams they should have hammered because they didn't understand that you don't just get the best players, you get the right players. So like the first Dream Team, and I always tell people this, they always argue with me. This modern Dream Team would have crushed the first Dream Team. The fuck they would have. They wouldn't have stood a chance. You know why? Because everybody on there had a different role to play, and that's why they beat teams, I think, by an average of something like 28 points, which is unreal. Those games were never close. They weren't within. I think they had a 15-point lead at halftime in every game except one. And I think Charles Barkley said we kind of hung around for the first quarter and let them hang around just because we were bored. We were toying with them, and then they ended up winning that game by 35 points anyway. But it's but that's the thing. It's they did the same thing in that Batman movie. They were who's very popular right now? Clooney. Okay, he's our new Batman. Who's an up-and-coming, young, good-looking guy that we can cast as Robin? Oh, Chris O'Donnell. He fits that bill. We're going to cast him. Who else is a really popular we can put in there right now as Barbara Gordon? Alicia Silverstone. It's
let's cast the 25-year-old guy and have him be adopted by the strange rich guy living in the castle over here. That's not going to be weird.
Just don't ask questions.
Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith even called this out in Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back. It was a 90-minute gay joke.
She had just done, I think, Clueless, like what, a year or two before that movie.
Silverstone?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, geez, I think so.
And that was the movie that really like blew her up. That was the first, and then of course she was doing all the Aerosmith videos and stuff in the late '90s. Yeah. But it's just like, yeah, who are the really popular up and coming people? Let's just stuff them in there in some role.
Okay, but really matter. At least make her Barbara Gordon, not Alfred's niece, who doesn't even have a British accent. This makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
Yeah.
Here's Casey. There's Casey.
No, I was like, you're a little late there, man.
Well, hey, you tuned in, so we must be doing something right.
Well, maybe he's been watching this whole time. Maybe he just now cleaned up his mess from all the Selma Hayek we put on screen. So I hope you cleaned yourself out, buddy.
You know what sucks is like I've been trying. It's not formatted right, so I have to reach out to Alex to see if he can send me another one, or if I can't format it myself. But he did send me the thing. That will text it. He did it to text and texted it to me. It's in our group chat.
Oh, was it the new thing of?
I
have to reformat it to put it on here, and I was messing with it a little bit last night. For some reason, my video editor wasn't working right. I'll continue to mess with it, and hopefully next week I'll have it up. But yeah, that's going to be how we introduce every silly Casey appearance in the show from now on. But let's see. I don't know if you guys do this, but both. And this is for all the people from the derailed fans. George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino both appeared on separate episodes of The Golden Girls.
Well,
there you go.
I remember.
You can play that over top of that.
I remember.
Now that we've brought up Golden Girls,
Tarantino.
Casey's going to start gloating about how he killed Betty White again and Lottie Daw and whatever.
Yeah, man.
Prepare for that.
That's 98.
I'll have to go through and figure out what episode that Tarantino was on. I remember vaguely the episode that Clooney was on, but Tarantino's the one I can't remember. Maybe that would have been a young Tarantino though, because this movie that show ran from 80 something until like 90, 84, 85 to like 91. That was a young Tarantino.
I don't get I know I'm just the horror, gut and bloods gore guy, but what is the appeal of Golden Girls to a male fan base? Dude, I don't get it.
Let me tell you right now, there are 4 women on television that were fucking savages. And this was the 80s when you still couldn't get away with saying a lot of stuff on TV.
Yeah.
One of them is Sophia Petrello, the old short lady. Dude, she was a fucking monster. She had some of the best one-liners in television history. Like, and what's funny, it's like she wouldn't just dude. Seriously, watch a couple of random episodes. She has the funniest lines in almost every episode. Because the storyline is that before the show starts, she had a stroke, and it messed with the part of her brain that is the filter. So she doesn't think about something and then say, no, I shouldn't say that. She just says it. So there are times where like Blanche will be like, I wonder why people think you like this. She'll turn around and be like, because you're a whore.
Yeah, because you're a whore. That's great. Yeah.
And it's such a simple line, but it's like the delivery, it's just a situation of it all. It's so funny. And on top of that, to a lesser extent, was the Dowager Countess played by the late great Maggie Smith on Downton Abbey. It's not as much, but she's got a couple of lines in that that just floor you. I mean, they're undercutting. They're really pointed and quick, and they hit you right in the heart. It's not to the same amount that like because Sophia has 1 or 2 lines every episode in Golden Girls. It just knocks you on the floor. But she in that show, it's like a couple times a season, she hits you real hard on the line. Just, oh my God, I can't believe she said that. She does. The other one was who's really funny is Selma Diamond on the first couple seasons of Night Court. She's kind of like only way more innocent. She's not trying to be hard or anything. She just kind of says stuff. The mother from Who's the Boss? He had some pretty good lines too. She was one of those people who just like didn't give a shit. Like those 4 women had some great lines. They're just fantastic. But dude, seriously, just watch a couple of random episodes of The Golden Girls. Dude, there are times where she just lays somebody out. It is hilarious.
Apparently, I'm in the minority here because even JSP is like, you'd be surprised at how many episodes you can watch in a row of Golden Girls.
Yeah.
Golden Girls was hilarious. Yeah, I never once saw a group
Don't think just because it's these four sweet looking old ladies that it's not gonna. No, it's not what you think. Like
flipping through the channels and see a group of women in a retirement home. Yeah, I'm headed to the next channel, but whatever.
Yeah, I actually, JSP, I swear I just watched this episode the other day. Me and Jennifer were flipping through Hulu. It was on, so we started to watch it. Rose says, can I ask a dumb question? And then Sophia looks at her and goes, better than anyone I know. Yes, Catherine Helm was her name. She was on, so yeah, she had some great one-liners on Who's the Boss, too. But she's another person who goes back to like early TV, like 60s. But those lines hit, man. They hit hard. Golden Girls is a fucking classic. There's a reason why everybody in the derailed space was just fawning over that show. Why Betty White was one of our favorite people in the world. And what's funny is Betty White, when she was on, what was that last show that she was on before she died? That one show she was on. She
was a star of Lake Placid, the first Lake Placid movie.
Well, I mean that movie too, but when the last TV show she was on, she kind of played a different version of Sophia. Hot in Cleveland. That was at JSP. Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay.
She kind of played a version of Sophia in Hot in Cleveland because there was one show that I was watching where somebody had said, "Oh, I guess the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree," and it was some lady that she didn't like. She goes, or sometimes a dog doesn't walk that far from the bitch. And called this lady a bitch, and I was like, hold on, he got savage on that one. Yeah, it was fantastic. I was actually telling Jennifer this the other day that Betty White had actually read for the role of Blanche, and Rue McClanahan was supposed to be Rose. And then right before they started to film the pilot, they were like, "I think you guys should switch." And then there was television history right there.
Yeah.
So basically, what's going to happen here is Jeremy and I are going to do a Walking Dead review, and JSP and Frank are going to do a Golden Girl review on like Friday.
Hey, I'm down. Anything that gives me a reason to sit and binge watch.
2025, folks. We're changing up the whole channel. We're doing TV reviews now. We're going nuts. So,
I do the Thank You for Being a Friend podcast where all I do is talk about the Golden Girls. Right. I'm down. But we
if you're going that, I'm going with the Carl podcast for our Walking Dead reviews, and we just Carl with like 5 R's. It'll be great. So it'll be fun.
I could have swore I had a picture of Park, but I guess I don't.
I'm surprised we've talked about Betty White this long and Drew hasn't popped up. That's really shocking. Like I figured his ears would have been burning by now. And like my Betty White sense is tingling. And then he would put on a Spider-Man costume, dressed like Betty White, and show up. But,
I think he's live right now. I think he's got a gaming thing going on from GTA.
I would explain it.
But let's see. Even though Earl McGraw, played by Michael Parks, is killed in this film, Parks would come back to play this role again in 3 other films: Kill Bill Volume 1, Death Proof in 2007, and Planet Terror, which was also released in 2007.
Yep. He has a great scene in Planet Terror. In Planet Terror, his wife, he has like this. It's actually kind of funny. In this movie, he was talking about hippies smoking weed. In Planet Terror, his wife was a cigarette smoker, and it gave her bad health conditions to the point where he had to feed her. And then he's feeding her like this pea soup looking stuff, and then she goes feral on him, and he has to put her down and everything else. It's actually a pretty fun watch. We should totally do a Planet Terror or even the whole Grindhouse.
We should do Planet Terror. That would be a fun one. Yeah.
Do the Grindhouse, the double feature review. That I love watching that. That's great.
I thought I had a picture of Chief at the end of the movie, but I guess I don't.
I was gonna say I'll tell you about it after, but I was gonna say right now, there is a video game on the PS3 era that I played that literally looks like and plays like a Grindhouse movie, and it's actually really badass. I'll explain it later. Yeah, it's even got the way it's shot. It's got really grainy film texture,
like a grainy, kind of kind of like the film's burning a little bit, you know. Whatever.
Yeah, it does that burn away, like kind of how like in Planetary, you know what I'm talking about? Like where all of a sudden the film cuts out and it cuts back to, oh crap, the whole shit's on fire. You missed like a whole half of the,
missing reel right at the sex scene when everybody wants to see it.
Yeah, and then it just cuts to the places on fire. It's like it does shit like that, and like I'll have to explain it to you. It's a really cool game.
Yeah, they go from banging to JT's bone shack is on fire in like 2 seconds. Like, I feel like I missed something here. What's going on, Robert? You forgot something.
It's not important.
One of the few Mexicans in the world cooler than me. Eric Estrada was actually lined up to play Carlos the Gangster that Cheech Marin ended up playing at the end of the movie.
Oh, that would have been cool.
That would have been
awesome.
Cool.
Now,
if we get more
how many? I would only accept Eric Estrada if he wore 3 different wigs as the different characters, because that hair is not real, by the way. Even though he swears it is, that would have been the only acceptable role.
Don't besmirch the name of mi padre. Mi padrino, Eric Estrada. One of the few Mexicans in the world cooler than me. Of course, one of the few Mexicans in this world cooler than me is in this video. There he is right there.
I forget where it was. Eric Estrada did something I watched years ago where he actually this is totally my hair. It's totally not a wig, and he grabs both sides of it and kind of shifts it on top of his head.
It was he had a cameo in Van Wilder.
Is that what it was? I can't remember. I remember seeing it, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, because it's early. Because I just watched this movie a while back just for shits and giggles. Because actually, I think my youngest son hadn't seen it yet, so he sat and watched it. I figured, what the hell, he's 17. He's old enough for me to watch the movie with him. But when Van Wilder is interviewing assistants early in the movie, one of the people that comes in is Eric Estrada. He goes, "I've heard there'd be international travel," and then he starts to readjust his wig. He goes, huh? And you can see the hair bounce funny. It's got to be his real hair. Got to be his real hair.
Yeah. Totally not a run. Totally not.
Totally not a run.
Totally run.
Okay, I'm going to set the over under.
God,
100.
When he started saying something near and dear to our hearts, I'm like, I swear to God, if you ask me how many fucking F-bombs, how many vampires died in this movie, I'm going to fucking smack you.
Neither one of them. It's just general body count. I'm setting the over under at 100.
Well,
100.
Well, when you say body count, you mean like all the vampires and all the other shit?
All it says is body count. Now, you guys know I find random shit off IMDb. I don't know if this is right or not. You guys can go double check this if you want. And later on, go down in the comments below. Let me know if I'm wrong and what your source is. I totally accept any corrections on this because I'm probably wrong about half the shit that I spew on this channel anyway. But according to IMDb, the over under at 100. Jeremy, what do you think?
Well, IMDb, but according to me, you can suck my fucking gun-shaped fucking nuts because it's not going to be right either way.
Jeremy's going to say IMDb to suck his Glock. That's what he's going to say.
Yeah, I couldn't think of a funnier because I'm pissed off now. I'm trying to think of how many people died.
I got you. No worries. I'll pick up the rebound. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, I went for the layup and I fucking croaked. See, it's like I feel like there was a lot, but in a way, I'm like there was a lot of. Well, no, wait a minute. There's that whole crowd of them, and they all just fucking combust. So you said 100 was the.
I'm putting the over under at 100.
The over under.
Okay. Jesus, I don't know how many were in that shot. I'm going to do a really stupid reach. I'm going to say over, and I'm going to say 101 Dalmatians. I don't know.
101 Dalmatians, Bob.
$101, Bob. And $1, Bob.
I don't know. What do you think, Tex? I got the over under at 100. What do you think?
Well, just because there's no way I'm not going to sit here and count. Well, this one died by explosions. That one died by condom. No, I'm not going to even try to do that.
So I don't know.
I'll go under at.
Don't say 99.
83.
Like,
83. Why not?
Okay.
Let's go 83. I'm just picking a random number here. There's no
Well, I
method
did
to my
too.
madness. You know, 83 sounds good.
Jeremy I took the over under at 100. Jeremy took the over at 101. Tex took the under at 83. I'm really surprised at you, Tex, because I really because you wanting the death, knowing that we had seen scenes like, I don't know, let me find a good picture, like so many scenes like this where there's multiple people.
By the way, that's a poster. That is poster quality right there. By the way,
that is pretty damn funny.
That is pretty cool.
I like that shot.
But yeah, I'm really surprised that you wouldn't have taken the over, because I was wondering, as I said, I was like, did I set this a little low? According to IMDb, the body count for this was 122.
Okay, that's
really
then. Wow.
So Jeremy wins.
Yeah, Jeremy takes the win.
To be honest, if somebody, I'm sure somebody has. There's probably a YouTube channel somewhere. And like I said, if you guys have some
kill count, James,
correction on this, go to kill count. Go down in the comments below. Let me know. Leave the source. I believe.
I don't think Dead Meat has ever done this movie.
I was gonna say, is there a kill count for this? I don't think.
But yeah, I've always. I mean, looking at this, I was like, I feel like 122 is really low. Because it's like there was a death every 3.5 seconds from like the early of the second.
Okay, but then again, are you also going to count like the last shot of the movie where they back out and they show the pyramid with all of the vehicles and possessions, like one person per that?
No,
you know what I'm saying? Like
that's not in the movie. That's not in the body of the film. Those are guys that died 40 years before this film, or 100 years.
Well, see,
I mean, in the film, the body count of the film, not historically, because that way you can say the body count of Oppenheimer was 6 million or some shit like that.
Yeah,
there was not like when you see the crowd shots of that bar, that doesn't even look like 100 people. Like it looks like it's like 80, 90 people or something. It doesn't look like a large crowd.
Well, I'm trying to think of all the ones they killed beforehand. So I was like, that's at least 100 and then a little more. Also, yes, Dead Meat did in fact do a kill count on this 7 months ago. So I'm going to have to watch that later.
Holy shit. Good on him. That's some like
that's what I was thinking about. Yeah, that, because they all die at the end.
Well, looking at the scene right here, you have to assume that, and especially considering what happens to Harvey Keitel, what happens to Quentin Tarantino, that not everybody is killed, some are turned. So when you first walk into the titty twister, before all hell breaks loose, you have to imagine that the number of regular humans actually outnumbers the number of vampires, but because of vampires' abilities, it kind of gives them a clear advantage. So once the door closes and all the shit goes down, that's when a lot of the people in this particular picture were probably turned. So maybe not all of them, of course, maybe at least some of them. But I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I just feel like 122 is probably a little low, because you've got a good number of deaths early in the movie. You got 2 people right off the jump in the, or maybe 3, I forget, right off the jump in the gas station. Then you've got the lady that gets killed.
You got the gas station. Then you've got the woman that Tarantino kills, the bank teller woman, after he does other things. The gas station. Yes, there's a good number of deaths. Yeah, I don't know.
Sheriff, obviously.
Yeah,
I just feel like 122 is kind of low, but I mean, I'll take it. Like I said, if anybody's got a more accurate count, by all means, go in the comments and let me know what it is.
If it's coming from IMDb, take it with a pound of salt. So.
Yeah, they're all kind of shady.
I'm gonna take Dead Meat James over anybody else, and I'm just gonna skip right to the end of the goddamn video. I don't even care. I'll watch it later.
Let's just say, I will trust the opinion of James over IMDb every day of the week. He actually does the homework, so I would trust him.
Yeah, I know he hates it because he's like, God damn, I gotta pause and like count every single fucking video.
Right, yeah. Right.
Okay, he counted, well, according to these subtitles at the bottom, I don't have it going through my ear. It looks like he says 145. So I don't know.
Okay.
69.
Well, if that's what I would go with his count over IMDb, so I guess that's the number.
What did he say? I was reading something else. I'm sorry.
145, I think, is what he got. Yeah, 145 kills.
Well, you were still closest, so.
Yeah, either way. I just took under just to be different, just so we both didn't go over, just for the arguments.
Right.
I should start actually keeping track of these, just to, like keep a running total.
Someone's got the stats of like how many times.
I don't know why I haven't. I mean, Cora's usually the person that always did that for Drew, and we had to keep track of anything, a running total.
Yeah, we need like a TSS2 that keeps track of all this shit for us and catalogs and whatever.
When we get big and famous, some guy will do the homework for us on YouTube and put it out there on our Wikipedia page.
We need a Jamie. We're kind of the Joe Rogan here, right? Jamie, Google this. Jamie, Google that.
Yeah.
We need one of those. So.
One of these days when I get that $500 million deal from Spotify, I'll jump on that. Yeah.
Hey, we don't have a Jamie. We have a Casey that comes in here and, hey, talk about me. It's whatever.
We see that. I know that's not a very fair comparison because Jamie is smart. He knows how to Google things.
Right. Yeah.
He's tech smart. Whereas like half the time, Casey's just pointing his camera at his TV because he doesn't know how to actually transfer games.
Oh, come on. Even though I know how to do that. And I'm an idiot. Like, man.
Oh, that's great.
It's called layer your camera over top of your gameplay. Easy.
But that's all I've got for this one. Probably go ahead and start wrapping things up now. Let me get your guys' final thoughts. I'll start with you, Tech. Give me your final thoughts on From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, these are my favorite kind of vampires. I've seen, I believe, all of the sequels, and of course I've seen all of the series that came out. But yeah, this is fun. I like the Southwest, the Texas, Mexico vampire. The Calibers are cool, but I love they still have the vampire myth to them with the different flavor and whatever. And I love the grindhouse feel of this film. George Clooney is amazing. Quentin Tarantino plays the perfect pervert because that's what he is. He's just really good at that role. So many good things. Amazing cast, essential '90s film. And remember, George Clooney's a bastard. He's not a fucking bastard. So keep that in mind.
Right.
Great movie.
Jeremy, how about you? Give me your final thoughts on From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, like I said, if you like these grindhouse movies that are, just wacky fun, and again, even if you haven't seen a grindhouse movie, if you've at least seen like a Tarantino movie, it's still in the same vein.
Very much.
There's sometimes you can pinpoint those moments like we were talking about earlier, like with Leonardo DiCaprio. It's like the movie's kind of like, a lot of dialogue. Holy shit, he smacked the table and he is going the fuck off and his hand is bleeding profusely. Oh my God. And now you're holding your breath. You know what I mean? So this movie does that same thing, but it's the fact that these people just turn into vampires and try to kill you. So yeah. It's a good, we've complained a few times about movies having too many plots, or it seems like they're trying to do too much at once. I'm like, if you would have told me like, escape heist movie mixed with vampire killing movie, I'd be like, nah, don't work. But I don't know. Somehow this works, and it's a lot of fun. I don't think it's actually, it might be free on something, but I don't remember what it was. I actually rented it, but I'm like, I don't care. I know this movie's
probably on Tubi or something, I would imagine.
I think I watched it on Netflix. I'm not 100% sure.
Because it didn't come up for me. I got it on Amazon Prime, but I had to like.
This is one of those DVDs that it's always at your local pawn shop. Like this is one of those titles that sold bukus, and like it's one of those movies you can always find physically for $1 on DVD nowadays.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't mind paying like $4 to like rent it for 2 days. I'm like, it's a fun movie. It's wacky, and again, just one of those. Just have fun. We used to have fun with movies. I feel like I need merch of that. We used to have fun with movies. I don't know. Yeah, it's worth a watch. Again, just and somebody that me and Frank hold dear to our hearts, like just like Kevin Smith. Watch all those movies; they're all connected. Same thing with Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez. Watch those movies; they're all in the same universe, and you're gonna have a fun time because they're all unique.
Yeah, I mean, Jeremy does say it best right there. Tarantino, Rodriguez, they come from an era where before everybody was afraid to make a film, everybody was parsing their words. It was like, no, let's find this outrageous concept, make it more outrageous, and put it on camera. And you got some fantastic movies. I mean, you couldn't make a Kill Bill these days. It would be so sanitized that it wouldn't have the. I mean, for all the nods to the way they used to make films back in the day and the weird editing choice and stuff like that, you can still never make it the same movie. You wouldn't touch half that stuff nowadays. But I mean, that's what's entertaining. You don't have to like it for millions of other people to find it entertaining. Rodriguez, he's actually done, I think, at least one masterclass on the website, something about filmmaking. And I that's one of the ones that I really have been like tempted to sign up for masterclass just so I could hear him talk about filmmaking and the way that he does things, and like really dig deep into his thought process. But like Jeremy said, this is still when movies were fun. I mean, you could take an outrageous concept and put a good story and stuff to it, and what you end up kind of walking out not as entertainment, surprised at something so wild but so good. I mean, because this,
I had fun.
Yeah, because this, I mean, for all of its craziness, for the vampires, for the special effects, for whatever, this is actually a solid film from start to finish. I mean, story-wise, narrative-wise, you can't really knock this film in a lot of spots. So, I mean, it's really done fantastic. And it does kind of exist in this strange universe of the Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez, where you have these little nods to where, do they exist in the same universe? Do they not exist? Are they the same thing? Who knows? Who cares? I just like watching them. I just like watching them all in, not even in sequence, just like pick any random order to watch them in. And it's nice to think that they all kind of exist in this weird kind of, maybe not the same universe, but they're kind of only disjointed from each other by 1 degree, not necessarily a lot. But yeah, it's fun to watch all these movies and just enjoy them for what they are. They were just great cinematic filmmaking. They were daring storytelling, daring visuals. This was the last probably decent period of filmmaking before we hit the 2000s and everything became so sanitized, where we became afraid to make movies that were wild, afraid to show some boob, afraid to kill some kids. It's like, and I'm glad we're kind of getting past that, and now we're getting into some things where guys like, we talked about Terrifier 3 the other day.
Jamie Leon.
About how, it's like, you don't kill kids. It's like, well, time to kick it up a couple of notches, because I'm kind of done with this whole PC bullshit. Let's kick it up a couple of notches and see how wild.
The kid in this movie gets it worse than anybody. He doesn't get just like bitten; he gets eaten. Like he gets worse. Yeah. He might get the worst death in this movie. Like they just said, "The heck with y'all."
Yeah, that kid got eaten.
Yeah, he didn't even. Yeah, he just got like eaten alive by these.
Shoot me!
Yeah, he's like gargling out blood, telling his sister to shoot him. It's like, yeah, it's already over, man. You just got killed now. That sucks.
Oh yeah.
That's some almost like Walking Dead type shit right there. Someone getting torn apart. It's like, nope, you just got killed. So,
yeah, it's a fantastic movie. Again, like Jeremy said, I think it's available on Prime. I don't remember if I watched it on Prime or Netflix, but
I had to pay for it. I don't remember.
I forget where I watched it, but it's around. It might even be on Tubi. I forget where the hell I watched it, but
MGM Plus, which three people in the world.
La-di-da.
MGM Plus.
Yeah,
Jesus. Does everybody have their own streaming service now?
Yeah.
No, Sony does not. Sony has refused to start their own
Don't
streaming
give them
service.
an idea.
Well, Sony's the only smart one. They actually make money off of their stuff because they license out to everybody else that has to pay the cost for all these streaming services. But they're smarter than that.
The rest of these are all primetime or premium, and the only one that you need a subscription is MGM. But like I said, pay the $4 from Amazon and fucking rent it for 2 days. Who cares? Just watch it.
JSP said couldn't find Rodriguez in Masterclass, but I found a number of other directors, including a dick named James Cameron.
I wouldn't listen to him. Fuck him.
Now, did he have a hard on, and was he talking about blue people? Because that's all he talks about these days.
I know James Cameron does have at least one up there because I've seen him advertise it. I could have sworn Rodriguez had one on there.
He can no longer teach a masterclass about Terminator, because how many times has he ruined that franchise by going back, killing John Connor, and putting an illegal immigrant as the new John Connor and ruining everything? He does not get to talk about that anymore, so he's irrelevant.
I think Dark Fate was a better movie than it gets credit for. Was it really, really good? No. Was it as good as the first and second one? No, not even close.
Nah,
but I think it was a much better. I think it was a much better sequel than Happy with Crap We Got. Although I did love the end of Terminator 3. I thought that was the most fitting ending of any of the Terminator movies.
Yeah.
Hey, I know it's controversial, but Terminator Salvation with Christian Bale, it's not as good as Terminator 2, but I love Terminator Salvation. I love
Terminator Salvation. I've said it 100 times. Great concept, terrible execution. Just not good.
Yeah,
I'd agree with that.
I thought that it was a fantastic move to get past the whole trying to kill John Connor in the present day thing and actually show me some of the war against the machines. I thought that was fantastic. That was a fantastic idea. It didn't work out.
The one thing, if they had only made the battle scenes in Terminator Salvation look like they do in T2 with the laser weapons and everything, I think that would have been maybe the best Terminator movie. That's the biggest mess up for that whole movie.
But we did get Christian Bale's freak out, so that's a great meme till the end of time. So
oh yeah.
That will always
fucking answer.
If they've made fun of it on Family Guy, you have arrived.
Oh,
this is true.
good
yeah.
for you.
This is true.
Give us that. So I mean, there's that. To be fair,
he just went full patch. He just thought he was doing American Psycho 3. He thought he was back to Patrick Bateman. That's what he was doing.
Really did.
So,
he screamed so much, and then he started sounding like Batman for some fucking reason. His voice got all
right. That's why he sounds like he has throat cancer in Batman. He ruined his voice on Terminator. That makes sense.
Yelling at the prop guy or some shit like that. But
yeah.
We're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. Thanks to my co-host for being so amazing as always. Thanks to all of you for watching. And don't forget to go out there, spread it around, hit like, share, all that shit that helps spread us around. YouTube does absolutely nothing to help us out. I will never apply for YouTube monetization. To hell with them. I don't want their money. I'm here for you guys. So if you guys want to support the channel, the link is down there. You guys
We're independent too.
But more importantly, just spread us around to your friends. If you have movie fan friends, say, hey, go check out this bald fuck and all of his stupid friends when they talk movies all the time. Twice a week. We'll also be here for the election, by the way. That's going to be a fun night. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but it's going to happen.
Spread this podcast around more like a loose girl on prom night. That's all I got to say. So, just whore us out. Do your thing.
Go listen to this dumb bald fuck and his friends talk movies and act like idiots and talk about how many people died in the movie because that's what we do. This is fun for us. And we're here to do this with you, so spread us around. Get us out there. Thanks to my co-host for being so awesome as always. My hetero life mate Jeremy, where can the folks at home find you, my friend?
For the next 2 weekends, deep underground, where no one but me can hear you scream. So we're
nice.
We are balls deep in October time, so that's when it really takes over my life because now we got to start being there earlier for October nights, at least Saturdays, and actually super early this Saturday because we started doing a lights on tour, so which is kind of like if you want to just come and see it, all the stuff on, but like no one's gonna scare you. There'll be actors around, but they'll just explain stuff to you.
Where's the fun in that? Where's the fun in that? Not being scared.
No, you can just do a behind the scenes thing. If you don't want to do that, you can look at it. All the shit's gonna be on. Just no one's gonna come out and scare you. I'm like, I can't speak for them. I'm in the beginning. I pass out the flashlight and say, have a great time. And then I go back and do my thing. So then after, like immediately following, and then we go into haunt mode, and start doing that. So it's just kind of a cool thing if someone just wants to look at the stuff and see what it's like just without all the actors, because I know it's a lot to take in. Like me, I can block out actors all day and just be like, wow, that's really cool. That guy's climbing on the ceiling. That's really crazy. Can we do something like that? Oh, hi. How are you, actor? I don't care. Get out of my face. I don't often jump. I'm just kind of like, I know that bit. I know the bit scaring people, but I'm a set deck and effects nerd, so I'm looking at all that shit. So sorry if other haunts. I know I'm that guy, and I hate dealing with that guy too. Trust me, but it's a weird dichotomy. Okay, I understand. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Maybe we'll talk about Walking Dead for fucking 3 months or something. I don't know. I need to quit.
Dude, if we start that one there, 11 freaking seasons, we'd never get that done. There ain't no way. Between your schedule and mine, we'd never finish it. We'd never finish.
Look, after haunt season, And I say it like it's not a big deal, but then then there's just a wedding that happens, and then I can just piss off like the next 5 years and just financially recover. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking this year in particular is a pretty busy time for you guys. I mean, even
Like
BJ said
shit,
there's November. Yeah, I'm
right.
actually surprised you guys didn't pick like a spring date or maybe something early in January or something just to give you guys some breathing room between the cave and the wedding.
Trust me, that was brought up. We weren't even sure we were going to do the haunt because I'm like, man, that's really close to the. And then we're like, no, we need money. So,
We like
go.
money. Money's good.
Yeah, we've been grinding it out. So it's it's getting there, and it's once it gets there, it will. And like, there's a lot to it, but it's not it's not like it hasn't been fun yet. Slightly stressful, but it'll be worth it.
And in the shape for the Lone Star State, my man Tex, where can the folks at home find you, my friend?
Well, tonight after we get off of here, I'm going to catch up on some of my 31 for 31 of my schedule hasn't permitted one per day like I would like. So I've got 3 movies I have to watch before bedtime or before I fall asleep. So I'll probably get like 2, maybe 2.5 done. But make sure you go see Smile 2 in theaters this weekend.
Yes.
And if you have a Six Flags local to you, go to Fright Fest. I'll be going to my local Fright Fest this weekend. They actually, now I won't be doing like Jeremy's haunted house thing. This is more of a corporatized, family friendly, but they have licensed IPs. They have a Saw haunted house, a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, a Trick or Treat from like Sam from the 2009 film, and a Conjuring Universe haunted house at Six Flags that I will be visiting this weekend. So I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm going to try to get some video. Maybe I'll send it and Frank can post it on as a short or something. I don't know what they'll allow me to record, but we'll see how it goes. So it'll be fun.
As for me, you will find us back here, as Tex said. Smile 2 is coming out this weekend, so we're going to go see. Actually, yes, Smile 2 comes out this weekend. Venom comes out later. I don't know why I thought Venom was coming out this weekend for some reason. No. But we will be
Venom's
doing
Smile
on Tuesday and Smile 2, the sequel, on Thursday. So next week is all Smile. All Smiles. Get it? But yeah, we'll be doing the Smile movies next week. I'm looking forward to those.
Yeah.
If you want to frown, go watch Joker 2. If you want to smile, go watch Smile.
That's harsh. Damn.
It is.
You just want to be really sad.
It may be harsh, but it's the harsh truth.
It's the truth. That should be a thing. It might be harsh, but it's the truth.
And it's not even just our truth. It's like everybody's truth. Everybody's like, yo. I swear to God, I haven't even seen it yet, and I already feel like it's the most disappointing movie of the year. So, I mean, but whatever. Hopefully, maybe I'll see it.
I used one of my. Why did you guys not like I used one of my AMC A-list passes. I get 3 per week, and I use one of those to see that movie. I want that pass back. Like, I am pissed that I used it for that crap of a film. I want my pass back. I'm suing.
One of the reasons,
the dichotomy is I didn't think it was horrible, but was it needed?
Ugh.
I didn't think it was bad.
One of the reasons that I hoard my points on my Regal app is because I want to have a free one there so that if something like this happens, Joker comes out, and they're like, "Oh my God, this movie sucks." I'm like, "Well, I'll go ahead and use one of my free tickets that I've got built up at Regal, so that way, if it sucks, all it costs me a couple hours of my life I'll never get back." So,
the ending is what's gonna piss you off. That's what. Yeah.
This is a free plug for AMC Plus for the A-lister deal. $22 a month with tax, and you get to see 3 free movies a week. So, for me reviewing movies on here, that's how I'm able to do all these things. You don't have to spend another dime at the theater if you don't want to. It's amazing. I
would 100% do AMC Plus. The problem is the nearest AMC theater to me is like 45 minutes away.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, obviously, assuming you have one of these within your area. But if you've got an AMC near you for $22 a month, you can see 12 movies. Whether it's the same movie or 12 different ones. you can go see them for free, and then
But
anything you spend on top of that is on you.
But I've been thinking about telling Jeremy though that we need to go take a day trip down there where this AMC theater is, because there's all kinds of cool shit in this area that's down there where it's at. There's a VR, there's a virtual reality place down there that I've driven by a couple times at work when I'm working. I'm like, I wonder if we need to come down here and like vlog and see what this place is about. They have Top Golf is down there, one of those places where it's like 4 or 5 levels. You just hit the ball.
I love Top Golf.
Yeah, there's a Top Golf. There's an air
awesome.
something rather there where you can like skydive over the big fan that just blows you up. There's one of those on the other side of the highway from it. Oh yeah, there's all kinds of shit down there, and it's in that area is where the AMC theater is. But so I keep telling myself, I'm like, maybe one of these Saturday nights, if like we're just sitting around bored, no kids, we'll just drive down there, see a movie, have some dinner, and come back. I mean, I keep telling myself I'm going to do it, but I just like I said, it's awesome. I got a Regal that's literally 5 minutes away from my house.
See you, JSP.
The 2 Cinemarks that we go to, or the
I literally go to Cinemark 5 minutes. Yeah, for me,
it's like
we go
see movies there.
It's not just AMC that does this. Cinemark also has some kind of a membership program. I don't know what it is, but there you go.
Yeah.
Jennifer,
lots of these theaters have this.
Comfy reclining seats. And I'm like,
nice.
Well, that's why I go to AMC, because I mean, I'm blessed to be in the middle of Cinemarks and AMCs. So whether I kind of go, realistically, the only time I go to Cinemark is to get the popcorn buckets that they have, but AMC is my go-to. I love their theaters. I know the guy running it is kind of an idiot and a piece of crap, but I like the theaters. So,
Adam Aaron,
yeah.
John Canby hates him too, for business reasons. Yeah, John Canby hates him too.
Right. Yeah.
But come check us out next week as we're going over the Smile films on Tuesday and Thursday. Smile 1, then Smile 2, and then next Tuesday, Venom: The Last Dance is already getting a lot of good reviews. Some of the early screeners have been very, very positive. The director today came out and said that Null will be in this film, and not only that, but there is a future for him, if not for Eddie Brock and Venom. So I who knows what they're planning on doing with Null. A lot of it's going to depend on whether Kraven the Hunter sucks or not, but fingers crossed, because I want that movie to be good. But we'll see. So the next couple of shows are going to be bangers. Make sure you come back and hang out with us. Thanks you guys for coming out and hanging out with us. We very much appreciate it. Again, spread the show around, get us out there. Help us out. I love that shit. That's so much fun.
Great shot.
That's funny.
I mean, come on. That and the guitar. I mean, come on.
I mean, it's being held up by like an organ. That's hilarious.
Do you think this band was collaborators also in Roadhouse? Like, could you imagine the Roadhouse from Dusk Till Dawn crossover? Like Patrick Swayze telling these vampires to be nice.